straight up forward.
Welcome to the Uintah School Board work session. Today is Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. The meeting is being held at Uintah School District Boardroom, 826 South, 1500 East in Naples, Utah. Present at this meeting is President Dave Shivers, Robin McClellan, Todd Massey, Denise Maynard, Superintendent Dr. Rick Woodford, and myself, Grant Stoddard, Business Administrator. The time is 4:01 p.m.
Good evening, everybody. We welcome you here for our last board meeting for this year anyway. I was seeing if anybody's paying attention. Yeah, let's celebrate now. Hey, let's go home early. Everybody keeps asking me what I've done to my hand, and the truth is that Jenny said shut up, and I thought she said stand up. And I wore this bright color tonight because I had to bandage myself, and I couldn't find the tape. And this says no chew on it, so I got it out of the vet box, so it must be for dogs. I don't know. Anyway, all right, we're going to get off and rolling. Our reverence tonight will be by Jason Maynard.
Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful that we have the opportunity to meet here today. We're so thankful that for all the many blessings that you give us in this life. Lord, we're thankful for your Son. We're thankful for this community, and we're thankful for the prosperity that we have. Lord, be with us as we be with these guys as they make decisions for our children, that the decisions that they make will glorify you. Lord, we're so grateful for all these teachers and staff and faculty and board that take so much time to tend to our young kids. Lord, we ask that you be with us throughout this hour or throughout this time, and we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jason. I forgot to mention Tanya McKee's asked to be excused tonight. She's traveling and spending some time with her husband, so we'd like to excuse her. We're going to jump right into leadership governance, and we'll turn the time over to our superintendent for that.
Thank you, President. So you may notice that there was a leadership governance policy reviewed last month on board meetings, and I didn't have time to do it justice, so we're going to table that until the January board meeting. But this month we have school board. Let's see, we have, wait a minute.
You said board meeting, it was the board ethics.
That's right, board ethics. Thank you for clarifying. This month is board meetings. And as we reviewed this as a executive committee, we decided that this needed to go to the policy committee, mainly because there are some statutory changes. For instance, we are no longer required to provide notice of board meetings in the local newspaper. That's no longer a requirement, yet it's a requirement in our policy. So we're going to send that on to policy committee, and Grant's going to be a part of that and make sure that we're complying with the new statute on school board meetings. Thank you for the clarification. And I think that's all we have for leadership governance today.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent. Committee reports. Who wants to start out? Denise is going to start us off.
Okay, I sat in for Robin for the Uintah School Foundation committee, and they had their Gentry fundraiser on Monday, but the meeting was before that, so I don't know how they did on that. Yeah, I was going to say it's probably really good. They had done they had raised $2,900 that they were going to give out to the schools last week. Other than that, it was a really short meeting. They have stated district coming up. They're going to be sending some information out. I think it's in February. But yeah, it was really kind of a short, sweet meeting, and they were mainly focused on Gentry, which happened last Monday. That's about it.
Okay.
And then I'm going to refer to Grant on our safety committee that we did, because there was some things on it that was all good. But
Did you happen to go to that concert?
no, I've
I-
been
I
sick.
did, it was
so I haven't-
awesome.
Oh, did you?
You went, how was the sound?
It was great.
Okay.
Well, I was up front, so for
Yeah.
us,
We just, we got some feedback from their sound people, and they actually said that our speakers and the amplifier aren't the problem, that they're adequate for that auditorium. They just need to be tuned or something. So anyway, that was interesting feedback we got from
yeah,
them.
some of the folks there claimed that the music drowned out those singing a little bit, because they couldn't, maybe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Grant, on the safety committee, do you want to add anything from the safety committee report?
If you'll come back to me, I'm just pulling up my notes
Okay.
on it.
That's
Sorry,
great.
Grant.
No, that's fine.
Didn't know that was going to happen, did you?
Not this evening, no.
Robin, are you ready? Press and hold.
So I was going to have Tanya report on the policy committee, because I was also unavailable then. But we'll see the policies tonight on our agenda. I've been meeting I'm on the curriculum committee, so I also met with the high school and the middle school committees the steering committees that are looking into science curriculum. So great committees, great conversations. They're doing the work. They're putting it. So they will be coming and trying to get all on the same page, and they're going to have lots of buy-in from their teachers. I love that. And then they'll come with some recommendations later in this year. So just be looking for that. I went to USBA on Friday, Utah School Boards Association, which is our supporting association for all school boards, 41 school boards across the state. And I sent you just a brief overview. Good job, Denise, also for finishing your PD. Way to go. Power up. And we're not at the bottom this year, which is great. Daggett, though, all of the Daggett school board members, they all did it. But we beat Duchesne, so that's okay. All right, and then, unless you did it and you didn't tell me.
No.
Did you do it?
We got it straight.
Robin, I tried twice.
To get on? I told
And I
okay.
couldn't get on,
All right.
and
I'll tell Megan.
anyway.
That's my excuse, I'm sure.
Okay. It's all
Robin,
right.
I know we
I don't
have
need
to
to shame you in
advertise
public.
for,
You didn't get on either?
What?
I know we have to advertise.
Just didn't do it.
I'm not against doing it, and I'm not
Yeah.
too lazy. It just doesn't happen. We can't all get together and do it. That's the first thing that come to my
Okay.
mind. That's not legal. There's got to be a way
Well, we
so
could do a
that,
book study. We really could do a book study next year.
Do a Teams meeting.
I don't know. It's all okay.
Think about that.
It's all right.
try to get us all involved. We're not
25%
against
this
it.
year. It's all right. But also just I wanted to note that the governor has an initiative called YouServe, and they're going to pilot 4 high schools doing meaningful service stuff. So we had kind of talked about that at a retreat. So I thought Tanya was ahead of the curve there. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. And UB Tech has their Christmas party tomorrow night.
Thank you. Todd, you ready to go on finance?
Sure, is that on? Okay, I can start on our finance. Fund balance policy, we've talked a little bit about that in some of our meetings. What should it be and where is it at? The auditors, as we met with the auditors last week, they talked or a couple of weeks ago, they said they would be sending Grant some information on that. Hadn't received it yet. I don't know if you've received it yet from them, but
No,
But
I haven't had a chance to follow up since that meeting on Monday.
there's not a set amount, but it gives us, it will give us an average or a place to start, I think, somewhere kind of to look at. Some of the finance timelines that are coming ready for all of these individuals in the room. I'll just touch on a few. There's a batch. He's got a calendar Grant's team has, but capital needs assessment will be coming up due January 30th, correct, Grant?
The capital needs request will be in by December 22nd.
But the committee itself will meet on the 30th.
I'd have
Does that
to,
sound right?
the calendar is posted in our board docs, and I think the committee will be meeting on a different date.
All right.
But I don't remember it off the top of my head.
I won't give dates anymore. I'll just say staffing sheets, based on enrollment numbers will be coming out. Full-time employee, lists, school fees. We talked a little bit about that. You know, where we're at on school fees. We met with our state rep and, Senator Winterton this week and talked a little bit about where that's at in, a bill supposedly is still somewhere in the works, and they'll try to keep us updated on where we're at with that. The reason why we're interested in, is there a bill coming, or should we look at really budgeting in some of those fees? And I think we as a finance committee will touch on that a little deeper. And then budget building packets coming in, I'll just say March. Purchases over 50K. There's a few items that'll be on the agenda tonight. Happens to be buses, food, and the elevator in the high school. So, and that's the timing on that one's important. So, fund balance, staff-based audit for restricted funds. A lot of this stuff, SBIT's new requirements and those type of things were talked about.
Yeah, this is, so some of those things are related to the audit discussion we'll have a little bit later.
And so
we'll clarify.
did you want to cover more of that on the audit side of it as well? Because we'll be covering sick leave bank balance on the auditing as
Yeah,
well.
so that'll be part of our audit discussion a little
Yeah,
bit.
he's gonna go.
But I mean, if feel free to comment on the meeting we had with the auditor if you'd like.
All right, so I'll just close on one of the things that the auditors did say, is that how well they were able to work with our staff and how good our staff is to work with. And so I think that kind of clarifies most of those. A lot of notes, a lot of that was timelines when you presented that, so
Yeah, no
I
problem.
think some of that other stuff will be on the agenda now. So. That's all, President.
I was just gonna say, cause we're gonna cover the audit stuff, they did really well, and they just kept, every time I talked to them, they just said how amazing you guys were to work with and how opened and everything, so. And then I found my notes on the safety. Do you want me to go over it?
Sure, and I'll supplement whatever you.
Okay, if I miss something, let me know. We discussed again about going out-of-state travel, and the liability and the risk on that, and they're gonna search and go a little bit deeper in there. And just that they talk about anytime they can, they're gonna use a bus anytime our kids travel. It's just safer that way. Let's see. They were gonna get with the directors' meetings and kind of get some recommendations on which way they want us to start focusing on safety a little bit. They're really watching the preschool, watching the gym, making sure that that's safe for the kids. Safety at the CEC is real important, so we've brought it up every meeting, just double checking that. They talked about accidents with our sped kids and just normal ones, and it looks like so far our accidents are down a little bit, so they're hoping that the training's working. And then winter time's coming, so they're just trying to plan ahead and, predict. And then they went out and got some grant money. That's what I wanted you to talk about.
Yeah, and I'm happy to address it. So one of the things that is on a lot of people's minds, on the legislature's mind, is ensuring that our school buildings are safe and particularly have safe entryways to prevent active shooters and other harms to students. And so we have applied actually for 2 grants. We've received word on one of the grants that we applied for. We received over $590,000 in grant money under one of the options, and hoping to receive another 1.2 million or more to fund the installation of secure vestibules throughout our district. Make sure that we've got everything lined up and are responding to the recommendations of our local law enforcement and getting things secure as secure as possible there. So we're moving in a good direction and hoping that we've got some funding that comes pretty soon.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive what Dean and those guys have done. So that was, I think, about it. So.
Yep.
Okay, on facilities, I'm not as smart as these guys. I guess I should start writing notes. There's been a little bit of change at the old district office. Vernal Middle School has decided that they're short of storage. And so we're going to leave the parking lot going back into the outside units at the old district office. The ones on the south end of the structure will be left there for storage for the Vernal Middle School. I guess lots of times they have things come in and they just have to stack them in the middle of the office until they're ready to disperse them through the school. So we're gonna leave that there. The building and the parking garage on the west side of the parking lot that is mostly caved in from last year's snowstorm will be torn down and removed. The next thing behind the Uintah Middle School, my old high school, there's our old shop buildings, and there is 6 of them, I believe.
6 or 7, yeah.
Anyway, the 2 north buildings are being used for different things. The new weightlifting stuff is in the one, and I don't know what's in the north one. Somebody will probably slap me for that, but anyway, the other 4 buildings, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we're going to put out to be bid out for somebody to tear them down and remove them buildings. They're just becoming junk warehouses, and they're getting really old and dilapidated, and so we're going to clean that area up, and we'll have some more area for parking and future things in the future, so we're going to get rid of them. At the new preschool, things are moving right along. It's been a great fall to be building, and so they if any of you are trying to get cement in Vernal and you can't get a cement truck, call the superintendent. No, I'm just kidding.
I think we're done with the footings, so you should get it for a few more days here anyway.
Maybe I can get a cement truck now. You haven't been able to beg. They shut one of the batch plants down for repair this time of year, and so that's put us short of getting all the cement in the valley that we needed, with everybody still trying to work. The ag building, we're going to move in someday soon.
Next week.
Do we have a little bit of an update? Did we pass our fire inspection?
Yes, so we passed the fire inspection and we have the certificate of occupancy. So technically we can be in there now. Our plan is maintenance is going to allocate some man hours to help our students and teachers move their stuff over next week before Christmas. And then in January, we're full go with it. We're going to be in there,
So
which
we
is
can do
great.
a little celebration, or what's the theory there?
We'll do a ribbon cutting, but we're going to wait until the metal that goes on the very front of the building, the little vestibule, is on back order, and probably won't be here until the middle of January. So until that is installed, we're not going to have our ribbon cutting. So it's probably going to be, if I had to guess, the end of January or 1st of February. But we'll notify the board and make sure the community knows and make a big to do over there. We want to get people in that building to see it. It's wonderful.
If you haven't been there, it's a fantastic building for what it was built for. It will be here long after a lot of us are gone, and I think the kids are going to enjoy being there, and it's going to be a benefit to our school district. So I'm excited about that. Superintendent, did I miss anything on facilities or anything else that we need to fill in?
I don't think so. I mean, we did discuss the Mazer Training Center, and the intent is to have that building demolished. It's just a matter of time and budget. So that's the plan, but it's just a matter, again, when we can get to it from a budgetary standpoint.
So, President, can I ask a question on the pathway to discovery? Is that where are we
Yeah,
at
that
on
was all part of our discussion. Believe it or not, that meeting was, went over a tiny bit. They, so the pathway to discovery, is hung up a little bit for the normal things. Of course, it's not gonna happen this year now because we're into the winter months for pouring pavement. We discussed when we get to the end of our property, Todd, we're gonna turn east and go down the fence line into the parking lot. And there's a little bit of a change in grade there, and we spent quite a bit of time discussing about it. The Vernal City has the money for the asphalt, and so we're just going to grade that out, and it'll probably grade up a little bit and grade down a little bit. We're talking about very little instead of spending a lot of money on a retaining wall. So what it's gonna leave us responsible for is a fence that we will have to pay for and install. But things are moving along. It just, them kind of projects for some reason take forever to get off the ground and get rolling. But it's still a goal and the plans are still there. Just hasn't happened yet, and I'm sure it won't now till spring.
That's what I was thinking, so thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? The facilities committee is humongous. I'll give you a 3-minute rendition of a 2.5-hour meeting. So if you have any questions, board members, lay them on me. That's good. Okay. With that being said, policy revisions. Policies for approval on first reading. Dr. Lease is going to lead us through that. It's 101.0350.
Good evening. This policy 010.0350. You can see the old policy in board docs, and then you can see the new draft policy in board docs as well. This policy was last reviewed in June 2014, and there has been a lot of changes in security and building access since then. We began with the old policy, just a little background. We took that to our principals, had them give us some feedback on that, and coordinators, and then we brought that feedback to the policy committee. And after looking at that, the policy committee just felt like there were so many changes, it would be in our best interest just to scratch the old policy and introduce a new one. So this new policy is a little bit different. Our previous policy was riddled with procedure, so we've pulled that out, and we used the model policy and a couple other district policies to draft this new one. One of the main shifts is the stewardship is now with the building principals. They really should be the stewards over access and security, where our previous policy had our maintenance department primarily over that. Obviously, the maintenance department has some procedural roles, but the stewardship of the safety is with our principals. The other thing is, just for your information, with our new Verkada system, we're able to pull up at any given time who has access to our buildings. So we'll be instituting, as part of our principals' annual checkout, they'll be reviewing who has access and updating that as at the end of every school year. So it's a much cleaner, simpler policy, and this is again on first reading tonight, so it will be circulated after tonight, and the committee will review it again and bring it back for second reading. Questions for me?
So I'm curious on the master key, which goes strictly to the district. For these principals that are in charge of their own, I assume their key opens everything that they need access to in
their building,
correct?
yes. Mm-hmm, correct.
And then your maintenance group can open any building at any time.
Yeah, yes, they do have full access.
I assume
as well.
that's what that meant. But.
Yeah. And then with the Verkada system, we have a lot of ability to manipulate access of buildings and doors. So
Do we have the ability, if we had a disgruntled employee leave that had access, can we turn that off if they didn't turn that in?
Yeah, so we can turn this off in an instance.
Okay.
If they were to have a key, now that's a challenge, right? But the issuing of keys is, again, at the building level, so.
Okay.
And a classroom key couldn't get them into the building.
Right.
They would have to have their access card to do that.
Okay. Board members, any other questions? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Don't leave us, though. We'll turn the time over to you for 0520.
Okay, so 005-0520, this policy titled Salary, Schedule, Placement, and Steps. Again, this is on first reading tonight, so after approved on first reading, it'll be circulated, and the policy committee will see it at our December meeting. This policy has not gone to committee yet. We're not out of line by not doing that. The committee, we're not required for the committee to see it twice. The committee just has to see it before it's approved on second reading. So we're okay there. The reason we're bringing this is because a little bit of an oversight on our part. In the compensation package, in the salary package that was approved for this year, we moved the administrator's doctoral stipend onto the salary schedule rather than treating it in isolation. So in the past, we've given anyone who has a doctoral we've given them a $1,000 stipend at the end of the year. With the new salary package, we have incorporated that into their salary, so they see a portion of that each month. It's just part of their salary. The administrative salary schedule, if you remember, it's very specific to job assignment. So our high school principal, vice principals, elementary principals, they have various different stipends that they receive added onto their steps and lane. So this PhD stipend is now part of that. It is on other salary schedules. Our teachers receive it. It's a lane on the teacher salary schedule, and the amount is exactly the same for a PhD, regardless of salary schedule. It's just treated differently because our administrative salary schedule is based on job assignment. You'll notice on this, we've added a general policy statement on this revision, and then 4.4 just 4.0 is specifically addressing administrators' salary placement. Okay, so 4.4 is the correction there, where we no longer have this as an annual addendum. It's now part of the salary schedule. Yeah, well, in alignment with our current practice. So it's already in people's paychecks now as part of their salary, that rather than just a pay at the end of the year. Yeah. So administrators with a doctorate will receive a job-specific stipend as per the certified administrative salary schedule. So if you pull up that schedule, you'll see it listed as one of the optional stipends that can be received or can be added into their salary.
So Dr. Leese, they're being paid this money now. We're just fixing the paperwork so it's correct.
Correct.
Any other questions, board members? You okay, Todd?
I think so.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. Item 2B, 2.0230, midterm vacancies on the board, and Superintendent Woodford will take that one for us.
Where are we at? We're at,
Am I reading the wrong? I'm on the paper. Let me go to the,
I thought we talked about this. It's just second reading, right?
okay. Yeah, we don't have that on board docs for some reason.
I do,
I do as well, yeah.
That was on second reading, correct?
yes. policies for second reading. I believe it's the,
Oh, wait, here we go. Okay, I've got it. Yeah, this is on second reading, so this is one that we reviewed last month, and probably the main change to the policy, I mean, we brought this in alignment with the model policy, but the main change was that if there is a situation where the school board does not fill the requirement within the amount of time provided, right? In the past, and really the way the state statute reads is the county, the governing body, can fill the position, right? But the way our policy was written before, it made it sound like they could fill it, and then it couldn't be refilled. It was just, we were stuck with that person until the next election cycle. But that's not how the statute reads. It reads as a temporary until the board fills the vacancy. So we fixed that and corrected that. So if that were to happen, the county could appoint somebody, but that would be a temporary appointment until the board could take action to fill that position. So that's the main change in this proposed policy.
that makes sense to everyone. I think we went over that all last month, so. Okay, thank you, Superintendent. Okay, is there only one on second reading? Okay, item number 3. Minutes. And if you're gonna beat somebody up, we're gonna turn it over to Grant for the whipping.
All right. Thank you. So the minutes have been, I've shared the pending minutes drafts with all of you, and they are on board docs. There were some slight changes requested that were clerical in nature. One minor clarification on the work policy. Last month we talked about when a motion is made and a board member wants to have some further significant discussion about that, a bit was added about the discussion that we had about that and how they need to address the board president and can ask about that to be able to have that conversation and further discussion. So added just a little paragraph about that on there from when I sent them out to you. But otherwise, if there are no other questions, I would recommend that the board adopt the pending minutes and approve them.
Board members, any other changes or corrections, additions with the minutes? And there's a ton of them, so if you need a minute, I'll just wait. If you have that many minutes, you're having too many meetings during the month.
That's what I was thinking. Like, are we in these meetings?
Was we in these meetings? Yeah.
I'm good, President.
Okay, Grant, thank you. The next item on the agenda is purchases over 50,000. And our business administrator, Grant, will take that one also.
Okay, thank you. So Todd already mentioned a few of these, listed at least the 3 purchases that have been made thus far to, and what they deal with. So the memorandum discusses that there are 3 purchase orders that have been issued above 50,000 this past month. One is to Kone Inc., and that regards the replacement of the elevator. I did receive some clarification from after our finance committee meeting. The reason why there's a purchase this month for it is because we've received some engineering services from Kone to do things, and so the final installation costs and those haven't been paid, but they will be once it's installed, which is set to happen, shortly after, if not immediately after school ends in May. But this is part of our capital, is one of the approved capital outlay projects, and it's just moving forward, and it's been requested that we delay the installation so there's not, lots of construction noise affecting instruction in Uintah High School. The second purchase that was over 50,000 this past month was a foods open purchase order to maximize the amount, or to minimize the amount we're spending on food by buying in bulk. And then finally, we made some purchases of 2 buses. One was a special education bus and an activity bus. These also were part of the capital outlay approved projects, and so we're just moving along on those.
Board members, any questions on Robin?
Just on the buses, are they propane? I can't see on the, are they propane buses?
I believe they're diesel buses on those ones.
I know one of them was an activity bus. I read the thing.
Yes.
I think both of them would have been stuff we'd have wanted them to be diesel buses. Robin, if I remember right. An activities bus? Why can't I remember
It
what the other one
doesn't
was?
say on here, I just wondered if.
Activities and special ed. Yeah, I believe that's what they are, but I would need to verify that and
Yeah.
and can for you.
So both of those buses could be used for out of district travel. And anytime we travel out of district, it's awfully hard to navigate propane. So that's why we go with diesel for those buses.
Any other questions, board member?
Buses should be getting in good shape.
Yeah,
Well, it's nice to only have to buy 2 instead of 5, right?
That was great.
yeah. Nice. Okay, we're gonna move on to 3C, the academic calendar. Dr. Wilf, he's there. We're ready.
Well, let's roll.
Okay.
You should have received an updated version of this in your board docs. I was able to work with UEA today on some of their preferences. The only major change to the proposed calendar is the shifting from a trimester ending on a Friday to a Thursday to allow the secondary students the opportunity to end on a Thursday as opposed to a Friday where their virtual assignment would go into the Sunday. So it creates a natural grading term, if you will. So that was really the only other change, and the recommendation from that group was to basically adhere to the calendar with the shifting of the PD day and the end of the trimester by 1 day forward.
Dean, I didn't bother to look this up because I knew you'd know it right off the top of your head. Is our start and end dates staying the same?
Yes, our start and end dates stay the same. The nice thing this year, we actually were able to collaborate with Duchesne County and get our spring breaks to align. We have a lot of employees that have kids in one district or the other, so that was a good faith effort on our part to align that. The only difference between our start date and Duchesne's end date is they come back on the 19th with students, where we keep that as a professional development day for our teachers.
So Dean, so you're talking about the end of the the November and the February? Is that those 2? And then I do get this question. I don't know if you guys do quite a bit, like from parents and things, but like who makes these decisions? And you said teachers, classified personnel, and building principals. Do we ever have the one voice I think we should probably have on there is like someone from the SEC, the school community council, a parent one?
We could absolutely do that in the future.
Just wondering if that would be, because I do have, parents always ask. Who
Be an easy
does that.
ad. Yeah.
Just a thought as
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Absolutely, we could do that.
Yeah, the reality is, as a district, I mean, we just need a calendar that
Yeah.
works. We don't really have a preference. We don't care for our own district office or personal reasons. We want one that's workable for kids and families and teachers, and so I think that's a doable thing that we should be inviting those people to be a part of that process. So thank you, Robin.
If nothing more, that's clarity. The reality is we have 180 days of instruction, and if we're going to end before Memorial Day, we typically count backwards from
Yeah.
there. But transparency never hurts anyone, so I appreciate that.
Board members, any other questions on the calendar?
So, President, one other thing just to be aware of is we get back into the negotiations process beginning, January, February, March, in visiting with our teachers. One thing we really looked at doing last year is to add an additional contract day for an additional teacher. It would end up being a a PD day essentially, right? And we didn't have the funds to really pull that off this past year. But if those funds become available, that's still something that the Teachers Association is interested in doing. And so if we do that, it would cause us to have to amend this schedule. Right now, the way it stands, it probably would mean adding one more day before school starts for teachers. It wouldn't change the start date of school, correct, Dean?
Yeah.
But it wouldn't change the number of days that kids are in school, but it would give us another opportunity to train and have our teachers involved in preparation and those kinds of things before school starts.
It would essentially shift our opening institute to a Wednesday as opposed to a Thursday, and then that Thursday would be an additional day for work with teachers in schools.
Nope, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean.
You bet.
Audit review and approval. Grant, I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you lead us through, please.
Okay, thank you, President. So what we have is our auditor will be joining us momentarily virtually. He had apologized. He had wanted to be here in person, but had some unexpected circumstances arise and needs to join virtually. He did sign in? Okay, so he's on there. What we've invited him to do is to give us a high-level overview of the results of the recent audit that we just concluded for fiscal year 2023. We're recommending that we're happy to answer any questions. I've invited our Chief Financial Officer, Kim, to help answer any questions if the board has them for us, but also be able to ask Kyle, our auditor, any questions that he has about the financial statements and the audit report. There we are. Hi, Kyle. So I was just introducing you to the board, mentioning that was going to turn the time over to you to discuss, give a high-level overview of the audit for fiscal year 2023 and just answer any questions that they might have.
Awesome. Thank you for having us here and for accommodating. I don't know how much Grant told you not to dive into my personal situation, but this helped my family immensely. And so just grateful to you to allow that to happen. So the audit for this year, we came out and visited Grant and his team in August, and then had some open dialogue throughout to be able to finalize, and ultimately got the audit finalized before November. I've got the financials up. Grant, do you want me to go through that, or do you want me to just state kind of some of the things that happened? What would be best for you and the board here?
President, I will defer that question to you. What would you prefer?
Board members, I'm gonna ask my fellow board members. I've sat in finance committee meeting, and so has Denise and Robin. Why don't you answer that question for us? I don't want to leave anything out for anybody. I've already heard all of this,
Well, okay. I think it's great for me and the public to just an overview, just walk us through highlights, lowlights, mostly highlights.
You bet.
Okay.
You bet. Hey, I just want to make sure I'm using your time appropriately and giving you what you were wanting and desiring as well. So hopefully you can see my screen. Is that accurate?
Can you enlarge that?
For sure I can.
That's better, thank you.
You bet. So we'll just I'll go through a couple of key points, and I appreciate, sounds like President, you said it, but, yeah, we did meet with the audit committee as well. I left that out. We had a good, probably about an hour or so discussion with them and diving into some things, and it sounds like maybe they've been able to report back. So that's a positive. I'm gonna shrink smaller just to move it forward, and then I'll enlarge as needed. So just as a reminder, you hire us to come in and perform the audit and ultimately issue an opinion on the financial statements. That's our task, that's our job. And so here in this opinion section, right at the top of the report is where we issue that opinion. And so we say there in that second bullet point that the financial statements presented fairly in all material respects. What that equates to is what we refer to an unqualified opinion, is what the accounting standards call it, but we can call it a clean opinion, one of the highest opinions that we can give. So these are clean financial statements. They're presented according to GAAP, and the numbers there are good, have been tested, confirmed, supported, everything that we ask of your staff there to provide to us, we've been able to see and get comfortable with. Okay? And then I will move forward. I'm just going to go quickly to the balance sheet as a high level here. And so again, this format, or as a balance sheet, as you look at it, just remember this is a point in time report. So these are balances as of June 30th, right at the end of the year. And so as we come down here, we'll see your different major funds. So Uintah School District show 3 major funds: your general fund, your debt service, and capital projects. And then this fourth column is your other governmental funds that are all combined together. So these are some of your smaller funds: lunch, student activities, the pass-through tax fund, some of those, the foundation that we added this year. Some of those funds are all there. So you can see the assets. The bulk of the assets were cash and or receivables for property taxes, which you've probably by and large received a good chunk of, or most of this by now. As you know, those are due November 30th, so your county submits, some things monthly to you as you go, but by and large, a good chunk of this came in just recently, or is still trickling into you. And then I'm just going to move down a little bit, move down to the fund balances, and identify these again. Your first column is your general fund. So you've got 1.7 in inventories and prepaids, and a lot of those are prepaids related to the requirement to implement a new accounting standard this year related to subscriptions, and the district has prepaid a lot of those arrangements, and so that's showing there as prepaids. And then you've got your a little bit there for the reading as restricted, 3.9 million of your economic stabilization. So again, that's the 5% that you're able to set aside by state law. That's there. Some assignments to programs, and then the remaining is unassigned for the general fund. For debt service and capital outlay, those are restricted for those purposes. That's why you levy the taxes to pay your debt or for capital needs. So those are restricted there. Okay. And then I was just going to fast forward and go page 20. So now this is your what's called statement of revenues and expenditures. So this is year ended. So now this is 12 months of activity. So you can see all kind of the ins and outs. So you can see revenues up here. By and large, state is your biggest revenue source, 45 million, almost half of the 94 million that the district has. Property taxes then being the next largest there of 33 million, followed by federal and a few others to note. Do note the earnings on investment for this year, if we had a comparison report, that number's up quite a bit. The PTIF had a lot better year, and so a lot more interest revenue was able to come in, which helped the district overall. And then as we just scroll down, you have your expenditures here listed by function. Won't necessarily go into any great detail here, but expenditures listed by function with a net change in your fund balances near the bottom there. So about a $4.4 million net change for the general fund, and some smaller changes in a few others, and then a $3 million net change in the capital projects fund. So those two funds really drove the net change for the year. Any questions of the board for what we've highlighted here, or these two statements that kind of show the activity and balances?
You okay, board?
Yeah.
They say we're good to go.
So you're good? Okay, there was one other report, if it's all right, if I can steal just a few more minutes from you. I talked about producing this in the audit committee, and we have it now. I can share this with Grant, and then Grant, you can share this to the board as needed. So all this is, there's just kind of 4 ratios that we've kind of looked at and offered up. Hey, here's where districts similar to your size, and some by location, but all of these are pretty similar in enrollment size. Just, hey, here's where they are from a couple of key areas that you might want to look at. So don't take any of this as good or bad. It doesn't necessarily, there's no grade, if you will, on this. It's just purely the facts and the results of the years. So the unrestricted fund balances, so those are your unassigned, your assigned and committed. So these are as a percentage of your general fund. So for you, Uintah, you're the first column here. So you're just over 40% in that area. And so you can see where that fits in with some other similar sized districts, and then as a whole for all of the districts that are less than 10,000. Is that big enough to see, or is it too small still?
It's hard to see in the back for us. If we turn around, we can see it, but if you could zoom in a little more, that'd be helpful.
You bet. Maybe I just went too far, but we'll see if I can bring it down there. So that
Much better, thank you.
You bet. So again, nothing, like I say, it's not a yes or a wrong and right, but this is just where others are at. And so you as a board, as you make financial decisions or set targets and goals, you can kind of look and see, hey, do we think we're a little too rich in the unassigned and we can spend more, or do we want to come down? But by and large, you're kind of right in line there, right? Maybe on the higher end of having some fund balances, but the comparison there. And then I've left. Probably have to shrink this a little bit to see this, but GFOA is a association that works purely with governments, and their recommendation or their best practice is that government should have at least 16.7%, 2 months in their fund balance.
M&O, right?
Again, that's just a very general rule for all governments. So not necessarily specific to a school district, not specific to anything, but just a general rule of thumb. But they do produce a bunch of best practices, and so that's one that we've just identified here again as information. I'll scroll down and then, so this is now property tax revenues by fund. So what this just indicates is a little bit is, hey, how much are we as a district relying on capital, or how leveraged are we with debt? And so so you, again, just to kind of see where others are at and others of your size. Again, very much so comparable in this spot. Some of the larger districts that as we work with is where the debt service starts to get really high. They're a little bit more leveraged with additional growth that they're seeing. But so again, very typical. But again, you as a board get to set these levies and make some of these decisions. And so this is some of these key points that you can look at. I'm going to scroll to next. Just stay here. Hopefully this is helpful. Again, we can share this and have this document for you. This is now your expenditures by function of the general fund. So we try to keep it really simple here and just say, hey, how much is instruction versus support services? So support services is your admin, your maintenance of your buildings, your transportation, your kind of those type of your central, your business office, those type of things. So in line here, maybe a little bit for you, a little bit lower on the instruction. Now some of that, we don't audit all of these, and we don't audit Wasatch County. I looked at theirs again today. There's a few functions that they don't even use that I would say the majority of the state of Utah does use. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, but there could just be some classification differences as how they are coding some of the costs versus how you are coding some of the costs.
Did we lock up? Did we lose it?
Kyle, are you still there?
He's frozen.
He's frozen like.
We lost him.
He's there, but he's froze.
Froze up.
Cold out there.
That one. Instructions.
So while he's froze up, I just want to mention one thing that we covered in our audit committee was some of our revenue increases. When you look at
What
property taxes, sorry, I'm on page
page, yeah?
7 of the thick one. Of the
Okay,
2
hang on.
pages, the second page. I think it's the second page on the docs. But if you look at that page, at the bottom, it talks a little bit about property tax increase is $2 million in 2023 compared to 2022. And so that's basically on growth in lieu of taxes. And the second thing that is noted in here, you know, our county is going through some challenges right now, but you look at that, and that's, the fact is we are gaining revenue. It's a little hard for us to budget when we get those increases, when we ask them to kind of stay down, but this is our earnings in investments, in other words, interest earnings is $3.2 million in 2023. And at the first of the year, you've got to realize we were at 1.4, which is a standard, pretty close to that. And so at this point, we're at 5.18. So now you would say, oh, it's great to have a larger budget, but the reality is what we're normally getting is closer to that 1.4. And so, yeah, those funds, that 3.2 million isn't going to come every year. But just wanted to let everybody know, we did get an increase on both sides. And so thank you guys for, I know, trying to budget within that window, but you're not, those are unexpected increases.
So let's just keep interest rates right there.
Well, let's don't, because we have to pay them.
I know.
I'm not going to say what our buying power went down.
Right.
But those, I thought that was just interesting. It was kind of just because most of you are hearing the same thing in the county I am. Did we really have an increase in revenue and taxes? And is it possible to make more money on investments right now? So, yeah. So, not a bad year to have a little bit of surplus. But,
It's true. It's different than it was a few years ago, for
yeah,
sure.
we definitely didn't want to, you know, again, our buying power is still, interest rates are going up higher than that, I think,
The Fed stayed the same today, right?
hopefully for a change.
Yeah, they didn't raise.
No pressure, Shauna, but we're waiting on you.
I like that smile.
Sorry.
Hey, you're back.
There we go.
We're back, but not officially so. Our internet just completely crashed here in our office.
You need to go to, never mind, I was just about to say.
He works for an internet company. He can hook you up.
All right, so I apologize. So we got cut off there. I'll send that. The last one was just salaries and benefits as a percentage of your expenditures as well, just to say, hey, how much are we spending on our staff? And you're at 88%, and then anyway, you can go from there. So majority, and you should know, majority of you guys are a people organization, right? That's what you do is you hire the staff to help provide all the services for your students. And so anyway, I'll send that on. Hopefully that's helpful.
That's awesome. That's above and beyond what we ask you, so that's great information. We appreciate that.
You bet. So Grant, I just sent that to you, but with our internet potentially not working, it might take a minute to reach you, but
All right, well,
we'll have it.
I can follow up if I don't see it in the next little while, but really appreciate you, Kyle, and thank you for joining us and explaining all of this.
You bet. Thank you.
I got it.
Good. You gonna be able to share that, Grant?
Yeah, I'll share that.
You're
Is-
good with that?
Is Kyle signing
Kyle?
off now?
Yes, Kyle's gonna sign off and.
Kyle, get back to your family. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. And so then the only thing I would say is as this comes up later in the business meeting, it'll be, the recommended motion is that you move to approve the financial statements that Kyle has said have come back clean, and then to adopt the responses that we had to any of the auditor's recommendations within that report, that, so that we can then share that with the state auditor's office.
So Grant, are you planning on Kim or Rodriguez? Anybody?
If you have any further questions, we can have
So it's kind of
them.
back to that same thing. Three of us have heard that, I don't think,
Yeah.
so we may want those responses if they could be prepared, or you could be prepared. I just think for the business meeting, it would be good to.
Oh,
to share
so,
some of
well,
those
so,
responses.
so the memo that I was able to get rather last minute, I do
I know,
apologize
yeah.
about that.
It did have it in it.
The memo lists, so there were, and Kyle, I guess, didn't speak to this, there were just a few restatement findings, and the summary of the responses is that all of the audit entries necessary to respond to those and move forward in the way that Kyle and Squire have recommended have been made, and we are committed to complying with the GAP principles
Great.
moving forward. So
Great, I think that covers it. So, yeah.
My understanding, Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, anything that they found that they wanted us to do different
we've done-
was corrected and taken care of, and that's being done now.
Yep, that's correct.
I just thought maybe, Kim, you'd want to explain why there were findings, because oftentimes I know I know accountants hate to have findings in an audit, but they were auditing. It's a different auditing company. Oftentimes they're going to find things or look at things a little bit different. In most cases, that's what this was.
I think that's a key thing to note there, and Kyle mentioned there were, there was one thing that was a brand new rule, a GASB rule that required us to do some things and make some changes. That was what he was referring to as the prepaid subscription amounts that we had to record in our financials, and with that, yes, it's a matter of often, if we were to now change to a different auditing company, we might have a difference of opinion from this current auditing company, and we might be asked to make some other changes, because sometimes, it's a matter of interpretation of GASB rules, and but you're absolutely right, Dave, in the sense that we all of the requested changes that Squire made have been made, and we're committed to moving forward with that.
Speak to I think there's 5 of them.
Kim, you better come up to the mic and state your name so that the public knows what's going on.
You just look like you wanted to. Sorry, Kim, not to pick on this.
Kim Barnhurst, I'm the Chief Financial Officer. So it was basically some restatements. The first one was Medicaid. Medicaid funding is normally a reimbursement that we get for services we already provided. And we had funding in federal and state that kind of covered those expenditures. So we had put that in a fund balance situation. And they wanted us to switch that to unearned, which I felt it wasn't unearned. So we didn't switch it to unearned, but we just readjusted what revenues we used to cover those expenditures, so that was gone. That was one of them. Another one was our impact aid from the SPED side. We had gotten direction, both directions. At one point we counted that as unearned federal, and at another point we counted it as assigned fund balance. We'd been counting as an assigned fund balance because we'd been told there's no way they're going to take that back. He felt that they could take it back. We have since the audit, we complied with what our auditor wanted us to do, but since the audit, we have received a letter from Impact Aid saying, no, we're not going to take those back. The only reason we would take them back is if you didn't spend them in the assigned area that they were for, but we had them in assigned fund balance. So it's, kind of anyhow, it's in federal unearned now. They wanted us to add the foundation to our books, and we did that. They wanted us to remove sick leave bank amount from our books since it was not a termination benefit, and so we did that.
Deferred tax revenue.
And then there was a deferred tax revenue based on the taxes that were delinquent that was handled incorrectly, and that was actually a correction that we made during the audit as well. Did I get all 5 of them?
The Municipal Building Authority, I think, was the
Oh
only.
yeah, when we paid off our Municipal Building Authority, we had left the assets in Fund 55 and they should have been in Fund 10, and so we did the entries. It was kind of just closing that out and did the entries to shift those over to Fund 99, which is our government-wide. So that was the other one. Any other questions?
Robin, as you have went through things, the other 3 of us has had the opportunity to ask. Do you have any questions about the audit that you want to be more informed on?
No, I read the letter from the auditors and just looked over, but so Kim, what you're talking about, where is it in the letter?
It's in the compliance report,
The
right?
compliance report, okay.
Yeah, so if you look at it's the biggest PDF document on there. It's the financials. It's got the financial statement.
Okay.
And then a compliance report, some
Okay, I
60
see it.
pages in. But the compliance report, if you look, so that's on the 62nd page of the PDF, but if you go through it's page 8 of the compliance report, you can see a summary schedule of page 9, see a schedule of the finding and question costs, and then page 10 shows what our response was to those. And it essentially is what we've just been talking about, that we made the changes and are planning to comply moving forward. And those are the ones that we're asking the board to adopt as their statements in response to the audit. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say Squire's a very respected accounting firm. They do a lot of training with business administrators throughout the district, and so we respect their opinion and how they want it handled, and we've complied with all of those.
So we had a conversation about audits yesterday. So this is our in-house, or this is our own audit, and then there's other audits.
Yes, the state
audits.
State Board of Education audits us regularly. And then, of course, you've heard about the new legislative audit, which we have not had yet, but our turn probably
We have
will
had
come
many legislative audits
over the years, but there's a new
on certain programs.
Yeah.
Like the teacher salary supplement amount and
Not like the one
At
we're gonna,
risk
not like
and-
the one that's coming, Kim. Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank Grant and his team, Rubio, Kim, Holly. There's a ton of you that's not, of his team that's not here. Please tell your team thank you. Audits always, for some reason in America, kind of send a cold chill up your back. But when you sit on one of these boards or you have the responsibilities that this department has, this is your document that protects you so that 5 years from now, somebody can't come back and say, Dave, you as the board president and this money was mishandled. This wasn't taken care of the way it should have been. This is my security, it's their security, and so, very happy with the findings. So you and your department, I know the superintendent even spends a lot of time working on these kind of things. For some reason, everything always comes back to financial. And so you have to have money to do what you need to. So please thank your team. Tell them we appreciate them and we think it's a wonderful job.
Absolutely, thank you. And I just want to, Dave, I think you misspoke. His name is Rodrigo, not Rubio. Just wanted to clarify.
Rodrigo,
for the record. I know it was an innocent mistake.
I call my own children by the wrong name, so please do not take it personal.
I was good at poking, Rodrigo.
Holly, is that true? I don't even know my own kids' name. Okay, yeah, sorry about that.
No worries.
Who did I call the wrong name for?
It was,
Oh yeah, I called Jaime Jamie for 2 or 3 board meetings before somebody. You still do. Oh well, it's no surprise I'm an idiot. So it's all good, and we'll just roll along. You get what you get. With that, proposed discretionary fund for recruiting high need and hard to fill positions. Dr. Woodford, we're going to turn the time over to you for that.
Okay, thank you, President. As you know, board members, one challenge we have, whether it's math, science teachers, early childhood special education, CTE, we have a lot of hard to fill, high need positions in our district. And we are competing against every district along the Wasatch Front. We're competing against other rural districts for teachers that want to live in a rural environment. And it's challenging because of the distance Uintah is away from the rest of civilization here in the state of Utah. So to give ourselves a little advantage, I'm proposing that we as the board establish a fund that we can use as we're out recruiting teachers, coaches, advisors, certain hard to fill positions, that we have discretion to be able to utilize funds to offer, whether it's a signing bonus, pay for travel expenses, help pay for moving expenses, those kinds of things. I think it might make a significant difference in being able to attract people to come here. Sometimes it seems like a good idea to come to Uintah, but then when they think about relocating their family and moving, there's a lot of expense that comes along with that. If we can at least level the playing field on that account, I think we might have a chance to get a better pool of candidates, and that's really what we're seeking. The better pool of candidates that you get, the better opportunity you're going to have to hire cream of the crop, or top-notch, highly qualified people. So what I'm proposing for the remainder of this year is that we set that fund at $30,000, and then we can reevaluate that each year as we set the budget. If you look at the guidelines that I've presented in the document, what I'm suggesting is that we would award these bonuses in the range from maybe $500 clear up to $10,000, depending on what we think it might take to get that hard to fill, high need person here. We would look at consider many things, from years of successful experience. For a coach, it might be college playing or coaching experience, things of that nature. So there's a lot of things that are important, right? Character, interpersonal skills. We'll look closely at their application and consider the interview, the distance where they're coming from and the associated costs for relocation. So there's a lot of things that we would consider. And, you know, these decisions are probably not going to be made unilaterally by me. I would certainly be making these decisions in consultation with Mistelin, our HR director. She's heavily involved in recruiting and hiring with our building principals, our athletic director. But the bottom line for us is that if we want to be competitive, we got to put our money where our mouth is, right? We got to be able to have the resources to compete and try to attract the best people we can. Now, one might say, well, just pay more, right? Just increase salaries and you know, that's always something that we're striving to do. But when you take $30,000 and you put it on a salary schedule, it doesn't go very far, does it? We're talking about you know, dollars. But if you take $30,000 and you can concentrate that on these hard to fill, high need positions, it might actually attract somebody and make a difference. So that's the rationale behind what I'm proposing. Are there any questions?
President, I have a comment. I think we as a board have pushed or encouraged to get rid of the good old boy syndrome that we have in the basin. And we've done so by saying, let's recruit better individuals. And we've got to be willing to give you a method in order to do so. So as I've read through, I think the only thing I would be concerned with is maybe the accountability, the checks and balances on where it goes. And so other than that, we appreciate you making that effort. My opinion is it may take more than that to get what we're looking for, but I feel we've given you that direction, and we need to give you the ability to do so.
Let me speak to the accountability. You guys get the final say in hiring. So you're going to know. You're going to know what resources we've put into somebody, and you get that final say. And if the board doesn't agree with it, you don't approve it. So I think that's pretty easy. Yep.
Comment from me is, I think as board members, we got to remember, we just seen a minute ago, of our funds, 82% are spent on wages. $30,000, which I'm like Todd, I don't think on a normal year, I think it's gonna have to be a little bit more than that. But $30,000 scattered throughout the school district hardly makes any difference. And so we have to remember that as far as just saying add it to a salary schedule. Well, it's not gonna attract anybody to add it to a salary schedule.
I'm just thinking that anything we can do to think outside the box or get better qualified, recruit, that kind of stuff, I'm all for it. We've been asking to get better, and we've got top-notch people. And so, but we're lacking in some, so I'm good with this. I think it's a step in the right direction. So I'm good.
Robin?
So, just a couple thoughts. I know we have unique challenges and we want to attract the very best, very brightest. I mean, the impact they have on students' lives, coaches, teachers, it's amazing. But my hesitation is just, it seems a little bit arbitrary. I mean, if there was a system in place, I have no problem with the whole philosophy of this whole idea. It's the how, it's the methodology, because I think one of the unintended consequences is what's it going to do to other staff members, other teachers, other coaches. So I would love to, there needs to be really good justification. Like, that's why steps and lanes are so, I don't know, safer. Discretionary fund makes me uncomfortable, number one. Just that whole, maybe it's the verbiage. It's not the idea. It's the how. It's the, what's the unintended consequence of if one coach or a teacher knows the person next door is getting, a bonus, and I mean, I know in the performance pay, I get all that. So
Yeah,
that's-
this is, just to
that's my
clarify, this is
concern.
one time, so this doesn't carry over. It's a
But
one-time
why wouldn't
expense.
they want that on the base then?
It's not gonna be on the base.
But like when you negotiate, I'm just talking out loud. So if you negotiate, like, I mean, maybe Mr. Lynn could say, what's it gonna take to get you here? Like, I am great with that. What's it gonna take? Do we need to pay you? I mean, when we hired another coach 4 years ago, and we honored steps and lanes. We got them up to where they were coming from different districts, and we kept it the same. So I'm just wondering.
That's all provided through policy, right? That there's so far that we can go with that, and there's already discretion for the superintendent to make those calls on step and lane. But we're talking about one-time monies here. So in addition to what you're saying, like we would still do those things, but in addition to that, we're talking about one-time funds that would help level the playing field with the decision somebody might make to move, because every district's doing what you're saying. All of them are doing it. So we're already competing at that level. But what all districts aren't doing necessarily is offering a signing bonus, especially in Utah. Partly because they don't need to. If you're on the Wasatch Front, you've got teacher prep programs and Division I college sports programs all the way up and down the Wasatch Front that are they're providing and producing a lot of talent, a lot of teachers, a lot of coaches. We don't have that luxury here. That's what we're trying to offset to give us that advantage.
So Superintendent, this would be if we had somebody that was interested, but they're sitting on the fence. And if I was doing this to my family and I was thinking, I wouldn't mind trying Vernal, but I'm not willing to pull $7,000 out of this year's wages to move my family. If that would make the difference, that's what we're talking about, that we could offer them. If you'll come to Uintah, essentially we'd be paying for their moving charges or
That's right.
something like that to help them, to try to get them to try it, because a lot of the talent that's out there is not living in the Uintah Basin. They're,
Great. So I agree, and Robin, I have the same concerns with the discretionary fund of sorts. I agree with that, but I also understand when you're recruiting, it's sometimes minutes or hours for that decision, and the ability for you to make that decision in the moment could make the difference between getting
Absolutely.
one or the other.
Yeah.
It just does. That's why I have a lot of individuals that when I try to hire, it's amazing what a few $1,000s does. If you, I'll give it to you right now. I'll give you $5,000 to sign on list, and immediately it changes the game.
Any downside? Any downside though with the other personnel?
No, because they've all had the opportunity to negotiate. I did when I started for the company, and some didn't. And I always say, sorry, you should have. Sorry. My thoughts, but that's.
Well, I guess we're always concerned about how other people feel, and we try to treat everybody with the utmost dignity and respect. But I don't think we can let, the potential of somebody having hurt feelings stand in the way of doing what's right and best for kids. That's just my feeling. They're adults, they're professionals. I think they can understand that, sometimes policies and practices change. And if they were not on the receiving end of a bonus or a moving stipend or something of that nature, I'll look at, elementary ed teachers. They're extremely important. We got to have them, right? They're great. The reality is there's a lot more of them out there in the marketplace for recruiting than there are a secondary math or science teacher who may, go on to private industry and make a lot more money than they're going to make in education. Those are just realities of the field. And, for us to get stuck in tradition and not address that, that's malpractice on our end. That's not responding to the realities of the circumstances that we're in right now.
And I would just like to add, so historically, we've actually had some funding set aside in each budget for recruiting new teachers. There is a stipend available to help bring in new teachers. It's been This year it's budgeted at 9,000. Last year it was about the same. The year before it was about a little over 11,000. And so we've got some precedent involved in some of this. It's just a matter of not to the degree we've seen thus far. So for whatever that's worth, if it helps assuage any concerns or that, we have had it there and utilized it in the past.
Robin, I appreciate your concerns. It worries me too, right? I don't want.
The arbitrariness of it is my concern. I mean, we want to get the best. So,
Well,
if it's really going to help, Ms.
if
Lynn
I understand we're a government entity and we're a school district, but if we were in the private sector, this would be a norm and everybody has discretion, right? Todd, I'm sure you have discretion, right? That maybe we wouldn't have in a school system, but that's just the traditional outlook of a school system, right? You've hired a qualified superintendent. We're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here. We're really talking about $500 to $10,000 that discretion would be subject to. So I would hope that there would be some trust and faith in our ability to use that, and you will have absolute transparency and oversight of how that money is spent.
Just so that you know, when the superintendent brought this to the executive committee, one of his concerns was exactly what you guys are talking about. He has this discretionary fund, and his accountability for that, he was concerned about that. We even told him, Superintendent, why don't you move that from 30 to 40, and let's do that for this first year for the ask. And the superintendent said, no, I want to leave it at 30. Let's see how it works and what it does for us, and let's go from there. So I understand everybody's concern, but that was his first concern when he brought it to the executive committee, was that having them funds there that 3 or 4 people are going to decide how and when they're used is a heavy load for him in his mind.
So case by case basis, correct? That's how it would be. And then transparency to, they have these qualifications or this expertise. This is what.
Yeah, to the board, right? When we bring the personnel to you and we ask you to, ultimately the board hires, right? That's what you do. That's where that transparency comes out. We'll let you know what those the amounts were, and you can consider that as you ratify those hires, those new hires.
And then look at it. You're saying look at it annually. You can readjust. If you don't use it, you go down. I worry about protecting those people making the decision too.
Sure.
It opens you up to some critical. So, all right, those are I've spoken enough.
Board members, any further discussion on that item? Okay, with that, we're going to move to number 4. Grant, the budget calendar, which is about 6 months long.
He's color-coded it this year to make it easier.
I color-coded it for myself. I'm just selfish because I couldn't keep straight which thing talks about what. So this is simply an informational item. This is the budget calendar that we're planning to go by this year as it's kind of a misnomer, right? Fiscal year 25 budget calendar. It's actually the budget calendar to create the budget for fiscal year 25, but that's really long, and it's nice.
Does anybody in the audience want that put up on the screen? We all have it. Does anybody need it?
It's posted to our website already, and so the public could view it as well. But yeah, so this is just what we're planning to utilize. That it gives the administrators dates that they can plan accordingly to make sure that they're getting their budgets all prepared in time and helping us to get it so we can get it to you in a timely manner and get your approval on it. So.
Grant, just after he showed it to us, for me, not knowing how you teacher or you principals determine how many teachers you're going to need and stuff, and the coordination between projected student, pupil counts versus teachers and those type of things, you got a lot of planning to do, and so I see how the coordination now works, and it makes it much more understanding. I understand it a lot better than I used to, so thank you.
Board members, any questions for Grant?
Love the colors. Love the color coordination.
All that work, Grant, and they love the color.
Looks great.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our work session. Superintendent, do you have anything else for the work session?
No, President, I don't.
Grant, you okay?
Yes, thank you.
Robin, you okay?
Yep.
Denise?
Yep.
Todd?
Yes.
I'd entertain him. Todd
Go ahead.
changed his mind.
No,
Go ahead.
I was gonna
Go.
make a motion to close the meeting.
Do it.
I would, make a motion that we close the work session.
I'll second it.
Denise seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We will start promptly in 30 minutes.
The time is 5.
Huh? No, you was fine.
Members, there's some salads in the fridge here. If you take them in
The crackers I had today wasn't enough. I know.
It's been a minute.
So we've been doing water aerobics in the morning, right?
You have, what time?
7:30?
Oh, really? How many?
Sorry.
Like, is it good music? No.
Welcome to the Uintah School Board Business Meeting. Today is Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. The meeting is being held at Uintah School District Boardroom at 826 South, 1500 East, Naples, Utah. Present at this meeting is President Dave Shivers, Robin McClellan, Todd Massey, Denise Maynard, Student Board Member Representative Kate Larson, Superintendent Dr. Rick Woodford, and myself, Grant Stoddard, the Business Administrator. The time is 6:02 p.m.
Welcome, everybody. We had 5 minutes to spare, and then all of a sudden we're 2 minutes late. I apologize. There was no reason for that tonight. They hope everybody feels welcome here, and any of the kiddos that's here that are nervous, we hope that you're not. I introduced myself to a young lady sitting over here. And what was her word that she used, Mom? I feel intimidated, uncomfortable. We hope that none of you feel uncomfortable here. We're just a bunch of town folks, and we're here to celebrate you guys, and we appreciate you being here. We're going to start the evening off with a reverence by Sean Collin and a Pledge of Allegiance by Kaylee Russell.
Let's pray. Father God, thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. Thank you for beautiful people in this room, Lord. Thank you for the hearts of those that are serving here, loving the children of our district, the children of our town. And Father, we're so grateful for them. Lord, I just pray for this meeting, Father. I pray, Lord, that this time together will be seasoned with grace. That there will be just tremendous peace, Father, this time of the year, Christmas, Lord, where we can enjoy the peace. And so I pray for that for tonight. Father, I know that the decisions we make today determine the stories we tell tomorrow. Father, I pray that the decisions that are made in this room are beautiful, great stories, Father, that we can tell tomorrow. Lord, I pray, Father, that every single person will hold their head high tonight and represent their families and their community well. And I just pray a blessing over tonight's proceedings. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you.
Can everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kaylee, thank you. And Sean, thank you. He's the pastor at the Vernal Christian Church. We appreciate you coming and doing that for us. We do. It's a most important part of our meeting. Student board member report, Kate Larson. She's going to tune us up. Tell us all the good things.
So we have a lot kind of going on this December. As for sports, last night we beat Union 48-45 in basketball, and that was big. Yeah, it was overtime. And then boys swim is actually having a great season. They keep winning every time. I've not seen when we lost. Drill competes this Saturday, so we gotta give support to our drill girls. And then wrestling is doing fantastic as always. Highlighting, we beat the 4A state championships of last year, 66-8. So I think we're gonna have a good season. And then because it's December, we also have Chuck Your Change, and this year we're trying to get the community more involved. So this the charities we're donating to are Make-A-Wish to a little girl named Kay. She has cystic fibrosis, so we really want to make her have a good Christmas. And we're also donating half the proceeds to the Special Olympics, so we can make those kids have a good time. Our goal is $9,000. We made last year we made 8, so we think 9 is pretty good, and we have a lot of fun things coming up. So for the community, you can come to the movie theater next Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're going to watch Christmas with the Cranks. It's $3 to get in. I think you get popcorn. It'll be super fun. And then also on Wednesday, there's Aftershave Volleyball, so it's where boys play volleyball. And it's at 8, and it's $3 also. So make sure to come to those if you're at all interested. It goes to a good cause. So there you go. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Kate. She's a joy to have as part of our group, and so we look forward to seeing her. We're going to move into the celebrations part of our meeting, and the superintendent's going to change the order a little bit that's on the agenda, so we'll turn the time over to him.
Great, thank you, President. Is that working? Can you guys hear me?
It's on.
All right, there we go. Thank you. So we're going to switch order here, and we're going to do our Students of the Month first. The board has asked that we try to keep people here during the celebrations component. So that'll look a little bit different, and I'll walk you through that. Before I do, I just would like to recognize all of the parents that are here to support your Students of the Month. You know, your students can't do it on their own, right? They need mom and dad's support, grandma and grandpa's support. So we sure appreciate the family support that you provide for your kids. It's going to make a difference for them for the rest of their lives. So let's give our parents of the month a round of applause. Thank you. And finally, just a word for our students of the month. We always, every month, we get to see those students that are really working hard and putting forth a lot of effort, being good citizens, doing all the right and good things in school. And we sure appreciate the effort, students, because not only is it making you better, but it's making all of your peers, the people around you, better and more motivated and better citizens. That your example is extremely important, and it's making a difference in the lives of the people around you. So students, thank you for your goodness and your effort, your hard work, and all that you do. And let's give all of them a big round of applause. Okay, so with that, this is going to be the procedure for tonight, okay? All students of the month and your principals or teachers that are here to support you will line up right out this door. So go ahead and line up right now, okay? When you're done, when you get to come and get introduced, you're going to come and greet the board, and then you're going to go out and get your picture taken, and you'll have someone escort you back into the boardroom, okay? So we'll just all stay here until after we're done with the celebrations. And with that, we're going to start with the child development with the preschool and move right through our list, okay? So Principal Brown, you get to start us off.
So I'm Erin Brown. I'm the coordinator of Central Cove Preschool, and our student of the month had December family things and couldn't make it tonight, but we still wanted to brag on her for a little bit tonight. Our student of the month is Mary Herman. She's one of our students in the 4-year-old program in the Pink Room. She started the year really quiet and hesitant and unsure, and I'm going to read from her teacher because she knows her best. But she has really started to blossom. She's participating in the activities, singing along with songs, making friends, talking with teachers and peers, and just really enjoying her first experiences at school. Her favorite thing to do during playtime is pretend to play teacher. We are so proud of Mary, and it has been so fun to see the growth she has made in such a short time. So please join me in celebrating Mary Herman.
Blocked. Are we okay to stand here? Okay. I feel like if we stand back there, she won't be able to see. So I'm Tana Baumgardner, principal at Ashley Elementary, and I have our second grade teacher, Sarah Anthony. This is not a good spot. And our student of the month, Autumn Rainbolt, and I'm going to let her teacher share a few of the things that she wrote about her.
So I shared that she's an outstanding student because she is kind and helpful to others, very responsible, and respectful and safe in the classroom. She's very good at helping cleaning up messes in the classroom without being asked, or helping classmates with stuff they need. And she's super helpful to me. She gives me lots of good ideas when I need help too. So I appreciate her in my class, and she's a good example to everyone in our class and in the school. So congratulations. And here's your certificate. That's the word.
You'll come right in here. Come this way. You're gonna come in. And we're gonna do something really short.
My name is Chris Labrum, and I am principal at Davis Elementary. I have with me an individual by the name of Leonard Merrick. Leonard is a second grader at my school, and he is, let's slide over just a little bit, we're getting some feedback. He is in Mrs. Menia's class, and this is what Mrs. Menia has to say. School is not always easy for Leonard, but he works harder than most other kids in the class. He wants to do his best, and he does everything he is asked to do. He always does his homework and is prepared for class every day. He is respectful to his teachers and classmates. He is kind to, in his words and action, and he's a good friend and looks for ways to include others. So Leonard here, we have a thing that we say at our school. We say, Deus Dragons are the
best. The best.
The best. Very good. Thank you, Leonard.
Find your parents and smile at them. Can you see them? That's good. All right, so I'm Tammy Christensen, the principal at Discovery Elementary, and Janaea Humphreys is our student of the month. She is in 3rd grade in Mrs. Deanna Wright's class, who was not able to come, so I'll read her thing. I'm going to give you this to hold. Hold that. Okay, there you go. Janaea has always shown responsibility and respect since the first day of school. She consistently comes into the classroom in the morning and gets right to work. I watch her show kindness to others by helping classmates with assignments, all while being so very patient. She is a great example of being dependable and working hard. She is motivated to give her best, influences others to do the same. Janaea is creative and surprisingly funny at just the right moment. Her desire to learn and grow is something I will cherish. She follows directions well, works great with her classmates, shares ideas, and consistently shows respect to not only me but her peers. She has a positive attitude, and I know she will continue to grow to become a great leader. Even though her voice is soft, this girl is brave. I have been so lucky to witness her love of learning and hope she never loses that. Janaea, I so appreciate your pleasant manner and value the effect it has on our classroom and me. Keep up the hard work and know how great you truly are, Mrs. Wright. And Janaea is going to go sing in our choir tonight. That's why she's dressed so cute, because they're doing a Christmas thing at 7, right? And what do we say? Proud to be?
Discovery.
Very good.
I'm Mrs. Huffman at Eagle View Elementary, and I'm pleased to introduce JoLynn Cornpeach.
Jolene is an excellent student who comes to class every day ready to focus, listen quietly, and complete her assignments. She does her best in every assignment she turns in, and she conducts herself with poise and respect for others. Last trimester, she was an honor trail student, and she currently is one of our self-managers, which means she is mature enough and responsible enough to have special jobs and privileges, such as helping students in lower grades with reading skills and math skills. Above all these other accomplishments, Jolene has somehow managed to rise above all the fifth grade drama that we have going on right now. And although she's a very quiet student, she has lots of friends at school. And I feel extra fortunate because I had Jolene as a student in 2nd grade and again in 5th grade. Thank you. Right over there, and then I'll give you some pictures.
Are you comfortable now?
I am Emily Arnold, the principal at La Pointe Elementary, and our leader of the pack, our wolf pack, is Keenan Smewen, and he's in 2nd grade. This is Mrs. Bird, his teacher. Turn around and smile.
Okay, I chose Keenan to be Student of the Month probably a couple months ago. He was chosen to be La Pointe Student of the Month because he's a great student who works hard. He sets a quiet example for others to follow. He always tries his hardest. He always does his best. Keenan is selfless, caring, polite, and a friend to everyone. He never hesitates to lend a helping hand. Keenan always has a positive attitude and a bright smile. He's an outstanding role model for his classmates with his positive attitude and his commitment to hard work.
I'm Denise Williams. I'm the principal at Mazer, and Mrs. Dozier's here to introduce our Cub of the Month, Bria Peterson.
So Bria is one of the little rays of sunshine in my class. She is quiet and sweet, but very outgoing. She's very funny. She's always polite. She is an excellent example of a cub. At our school, a cub is courteous, upbeat, and brave, and Bria exemplifies all of this and more every day by coming in and being kind to others, quickly getting on task, raising her hand, giving us a good laugh at the carpet, but always being a good example to others and having a big smile. She just radiates sunshine. She's the sweetest little thing to be around. She is definitely Student of the Month.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Martineau, principal at Naples Elementary, and our Student of the Month is Ashlyn Harper. Ashlyn is a 2nd grader in Mrs. Levitri's class, and this is what she has to say about her. She says, Ashlyn is a fun and vibrant little girl who brightens up the room whenever she enters. Ashlyn is a hard worker. If she's not sure how to do something, she's willing to ask for help and tries to do her very best. She loves to write stories, and she made tremendous growth on her middle of the year iReady and math benchmark. Mrs. Levitri is so proud of Ashlyn and can't wait to see what the rest of the year brings for her. And I'm so proud of Ashlyn as well. Congratulations.
Hi, my name is Andrew Milliken. I am an 8th grade ELA teacher over at UMS. This is Mila Gardner. In my English class, Mila has consistently been one of the best students that I've ever seen come in. When we were having the 8th grade the 8th grade team meeting, I nominated Mila, and everybody immediately said yes. It was one and done. There was no other name. So Mila is consistently one of the best students we have seen in our grade and in our school. So I would like to present her with this award.
I'll just add that she is quintessential. If you got to build a model student, this is what you would end up with.
Hello, I'm Christina Vire-Jolliffe. I'm the assistant principal at Vernal Middle School, and unfortunately our student is not able to be here tonight, but we definitely want to recognize Lila Wild, who is an 8th grade student in our school. And she is just an amazing student, a very conscientious student, and really exemplifies what it means to be a Mustang and to show Mustang pride. And I do have a message from Mrs. Collin, who is one of her teachers this year, but had her last year as well, and I think she sums it up best. Give me a second here. Mrs. Collins says she is observant, smart, and a thinker. She is reserved in class and doesn't talk much, but will give a well thought out answer when needed. She has a great smile and a super kind nature. You can tell she is eager to learn and grabs at every opportunity that offers her learning something new. So we nominate Lila Wild.
Okay, here's your thing. Here's your cute little thing. And your little pin. Oh, thank you. All right, we fixed that one so they can see you. Okay. Come here by me. All right, is it on? Fantastic. Okay, good. I'm Christy Putnam. I'm a math teacher at the high school. And I'm going to tell you the greatest thing about Brianna first, and then we'll go on to the good stuff. Brianna's that student that as she is sitting there doing her work, she actually listens. She listens not just to me, but she listens to the people around her. She's the type of person that, like, if she hears somebody next to her says, "Oh, God, I need a hair tie," or "Oh, I forgot my pencil today." She listens to what they forget, and then she makes sure she packs them and puts them in her bag, and so she has them for people later. That's the kind of person that Brianna is. So she is so thoughtful. She does things like that for her classmates. Plus, she is there in math where she can help people. She can answer questions, and she does a really good job of explaining things. Best note taker I've ever seen, and she got 102% in my honors sophomore math class last trimester, which is almost impossible to do because we don't offer much extra credit. The only way she could earn that is if she got over 100% and got a hard bonus question right on a test, or if she did a really good job on a benchmark, which means that she just really knows her stuff. And so she does all of this, and then she's also in the plays. So and in Math 2, we have homework, and so she's able to keep up on her homework. She's able to do well in all of her classes. Didn't you get a 4.0? Yeah? So she got a 4.0 last try. She's just an all-around good person and a good student. So this is Brianna Anderson.
Okay, now we have Rihanna Bromley. So Rihanna is our student of the month because she is absolutely an exemplary warrior, an AVEC warrior. She, I think if there's one, or I guess a two-word
adjective that I could think of for her is just a hard worker. She absolutely works hard. She came to us this year as a junior, and she is getting ready to graduate, or not getting ready, she graduated. She just graduated. So she worked extremely hard, graduated with a 3.2 GPA. She came in every day. I know she worked nights at Little Caesars, and she would come in. She was there every day with her caffeinated beverage, and she went to work, and she worked extremely hard. So kudos to this girl. She is hard worker and a kind heart, and that goes really well together. She's planning on, now that she has graduated, she's planning on working for a while, but she's hoping to go on and get her CDL and possibly doing some long-haul truck driving. So way to go, Rihanna.
Here, we got another one. Okay, so that concludes our Students of the Month celebrations. We do have some other celebrations here. So with that, we're going to start with a celebration of Kaylee Russell. So if we could have Christy Nurdin come on up. We have a video, don't we? What's that? How do you want to do it? Okay, so video first?
Us first, then the video.
Okay, us first. Go ahead, come on up. Yep.
Okay, all right. So, and I'm glad you came up. This is Kaylee Russell, and she's known at the high school as one of the drill team captains. She is also our Sterling Scholar for dance. Kudos to you, she's amazing. But what a lot of people don't know is her hidden talent of what is it, like photography, design, all of that, videography. Okay, I'm getting these words right. And what she did is they had a statewide competition for a sportsmanship video, and it's through all classes, 1A up through 6A, and she won statewide for 4A. So she won everybody. She beat everybody, which she's going to do in Sterling Scholar, right? This video is awesome. We're going to watch it here in a second, but it's going to be used throughout the year and among different schools in the state for sportsmanship, to promote sportsmanship. She contributes so much. She's dedicated, and she's also pretty humble. When we came to tell her congratulations in her class, she almost didn't want to get up. She's just amazing. I just am so impressed with her. She does a great job at representing UNA High School, and she's got so many talents, and we're just so lucky to have you at UNA High School. So you guys watch her video. It'll pump you up. It will. It does. It's so good. All right. So Miss Kaylee Russell, let's give her a hand, you guys.
Yeah, come on up here and shake our hands. Come on.
Christy,
Then we'll watch the
did you want me to play the video? Yes.
Yeah. She gets an award, I guess. So, yeah. Wow. That was awesome. Wow, that was amazing. Yeah, what an awesome thing. There's nothing really more important, right? I mean, how we treat other people and promoting sportsmanship. It's just a fantastic thing that you've been a part of, and so thank you for your leadership and the hard work to do that. It's a great thing. Excellent. Just made me proud as a superintendent. I'm sure the board members felt the same way, right? So sure appreciate that. Excellent. So we're going to move on now to our FFA floriculture team. So we'll have Mindy Merrill, if she'd come forward, and David Wilson to present that.
Okay, before I turn the time over to Dave for a really exciting celebration, I want to take a moment to celebrate Mr. David Wilson. No, you don't get to sit down. You got to come up here. If you know Mr. Wilson, he does not like to be in the spotlight, but he does love to recognize the good work of his students. I want to celebrate Mr. Wilson and his work ethic. If any of you are involved in an agriculture program or had a student or know anything about FFA, this man doesn't sleep, he doesn't rest, he teaches all day, he works with teams all night, he works with fundraisers and gets funds from the school to support the program. He works with people in the community to come in and help train our teams, who are always highly awarded teams. We're very recognized at the state and national level because of the work that he does. Another thing that a lot of people don't know is teachers get a summer, unless you're an ag teacher. He runs a summer ag program, Ag Experience, where students are able to do their projects, and he goes and works alongside, gets to know what they're doing, checks on them, and kind of mentors them through that process. There aren't very many harder working people that I know than Mr. David Wilson. So as we celebrate these students, I also want to celebrate Mr. Wilson and realize the huge part that he plays in making our teams be a success.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We're here to recognize our floriculture team, if they will come on up. We have one that's off doing finals at college, and I guess that trumped this tonight. So, of course, she's having to pay a lot of money for that. So, we have Kaylee Jo Huber, Tasia Richens, and Isabel Owens. I'll introduce them really quick. They took state last spring. It's a 4-person team. We compete against all teams throughout the state and all sizes of schools. that was last spring in April. We prepared during the spring, later spring and summer and fall, and went to National FFA Convention the first week of November this year. We flew back on Halloween, actually. They competed in, it was an all-day event. They did a lot of preparation, not just together as a team, but a lot on their own. It takes a lot on their own if they're going to really be successful. And I don't know if it's just a Utah thing or in other states, but in FFA, normally when you win a state event, you can no longer do that same event again. That's been a rule for, well, ever since I've been around. It's been a long time. I'm not so sure they're doing that in other states, because one of the ones that always is up at the top is North Carolina in some of these events, and I've been snooping around on them a little bit. And some of those names were there, and I've tried to kind of talk to that guy that's there, and he's not friendly. He won't talk to me. So anyway, I knew these guys would do well. They surprised me, though. I thought, well, maybe have a shot for top 10. But wow, when they announced they do an award ceremony for every single CDE or contest or leadership event at National FFA Convention. So we were at the floriculture one, of course, and they go through bronze individuals, bronze teams, silver individuals, and then gold. And they started naming our kids off at gold. I'm like, hey, this is good. And then they didn't say our name. And then they told everybody, said, well, the top 4. We're gonna name those rankings on stage during the third session of the National FFA Convention, in front of I don't know how many's in there. There were 70,000 something people, but they're not all in the session because they can't hold them all. Anyway, and on TV, on RFD TV, and so we had, well, we're in the top 4, and we got up on stage and we ended up 4th. And wow, it was amazing. It was a great experience, and these guys worked really, really hard. Vernal Floral owner Aaron Hacking helped us some as well. They spent some time going down there right before convention. We went down there several times and worked with her. We did a lot of problem solving. There's a lot of different aspects of the contest, too many to sit here and tell you about, but we're proud of them, and wow, too bad they can't do it again, right? But we'll see what happens. But thank you. We appreciate everybody's support.
Mindy and Dave, thank you. Appreciate your leadership, and that new ag building, you're very deserving to have that be your new home. So it's going to be awesome. All right, that concludes our celebrations tonight. We'll turn the time back over to you, President. Yeah.
All right. Hello.
Yeah, they're on. They're just low. Can we have the volume turned up a little bit? Thanks, Kent.
Okay, I can talk really loud too, so I think everybody can hear me. We're going to move down to school reports now, and we're going to turn the time over to Chris Labram, our principal at Davis Elementary. Chris, that mic is not on.
Hear me? Oh, there we go. First of all, thank you for this opportunity to come and talk to you about Davis Elementary. I'm going to be talking very quickly, so hopefully you'll get the gist of what we've got. But the first thing, we've just finished celebrations. I want to celebrate Davis Elementary for just a moment and flash back to our RISE scores from last spring. This is actually a running look at what we've been doing at Davis. If you see blue boxes, that means we have surpassed the state score. If you see green boxes, it's the same as the state score. And if you see the orange boxes, those are ones that were within 4 points. And you can see as the trend, we're moving along and we're doing pretty good at raising the scores, rise scores at Davis Elementary. This one right here is has some dismal news on it, but I'm counting it as a celebration too, because in this, taking a look at this data, our school really dove deep and decided we needed to do something about fluency. We've got, and we're talking about fluency in reading. If we're looking at straight fluency, those scores average out to be about 50%. If we're looking at accuracy, we're looking at 65%. We have got to raise those in order to raise our reading scores, our composite at Davis Elementary. And so our leadership team, our school community council, our faculty took a look and made some goals there that I'll let you read. But notice that the one we really wanted to change, and these are lead measures going to our lag measure, which is we want to be just like the school district, we want to be at or above the state level in scores. So going back here to fluency and accuracy, we want to raise our fluency by, our accuracy by 5%, and we want to raise our fluency by 10%. We're thinking that if we can bring that fluency, we're going to bring the accuracy up as well, and also raise our composite scores. There's other things that we've got there. We're going to measure how many students are getting some interventions, how well we're using CKLA and M-Class and UFly, and we're going to, the big one, is we're going to provide a fluency reading program that goes home. We haven't done that at Davis, so this is a big deal. With these lag measures, we came up with 3 big actions that we wanted to do. Those 3 big actions are, number 1, during win time, which is a 60-minute time when students are getting interventions based on their needs, whether they are below grade level or above grade level or at grade level, they are getting some kind of intervention, and those interventions come in the way of M-Class, UFly, or some things like book clubs or something that the teachers have designed. We are doing home fluency readings, school-wide. And then one that I'm particularly going to be focusing on is what I call the short shot fluency work that we're doing with our students. But let's back up and talk about win time. Win time is defined as being a small group instruction. You see the teacher here with 3 students, and she's actually doing a UFly lesson. It's small group. It's targeted for those students who are yellow. That means that they are below, and we're also doing the red and well below in Acadience reading. We are wanting them to, we are progress monitoring those students in these groups every 1 to 2 weeks. And every 6 weeks, we're checking their progress to see if they need different interventions or can graduate out of the program. Here's some of the data. Let's back up. Sorry. I want you to look at this data again, and you notice that kindergarten only has 2 categories, and we're looking at letters and sounds. We aren't looking at actual reading fluency, okay? First grade, we start to see that in middle of the year, but our biggest thing is then from 2nd grade on. So you're going to see some different things in the graphs. We're looking at 1st through 5th grade because kindergarten's not really doing reading fluency. And so far, the black indicates where we were at the beginning of the year scores. And the gray indicates our end of the year goal. Remember that fluency we wanted to increase by 10%. So those are the goals. 1st grade. And this is based on progress monitoring, and it's progress monitoring using that data for what we are projecting they're going to be scoring in January on the middle of the year scores. 1st grade, we're thinking they're going to be doing pretty well.
Second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. You can see that we're well on the way to getting there with fluency first through fifth grade. The second action that we were looking at was doing our school-wide home fluency readings. Those are different depending on what their grade level are. They're for every student in our school going home, asking for parents to participate and help them with this fluency. So on with the frog, we're looking at something that's maybe lower grade, and Pluto is maybe something upper grade, and they're looking at different things for fluency as well as throwing in some things with comprehension as well. They are based on student level. Okay, so like if they're a second grade student, the teacher will prepare for a below level, on grade level, and above grade level. And depending on where the student is, they will be tested or are doing their readings on those levels to them, specific to them. They read for 4 days with a family member or their dog maybe, and the parents are signing it off. And then they are returned to school, and the teacher keeps track of participation. If you were to walk around our school, you see castles everywhere, and those castles are being filled in brick by brick on the students who are bringing these passages back. A few weeks ago, I met with the superintendent, and he says, "How's it going? How are they doing?" And I says, "Well, I think about 50%. I underestimated it's 51%. And we're really looking at, you know, what is the participation at home? And so we need to get that message to the homes a little bit more in order to increase that fluency readings. And so here's the data of where we're looking. We are keeping the data in 9 weeks, and this is 51% overall. The short shot, something that we do from 8:30 to 8:50 in the mornings, 20 minutes. And this is a reading fluency passage that is done with an adult during that time. And this is on grade level, okay? On grade level, regardless of where they are. We're looking at working with yellow students because we want to bring those yellow students up to green or blue. A typical session with one of these adults lasts about 3 to 4 minutes. They have about 4 to 5 students that they work with, and they keep data. You can see there that some of them are have a notebook or a folder that they're writing down the information. Every 4 weeks, we are reviewing that data to see progress. We've been through a 12-week cycle. This data right here is referring to information that we've all learned in our letters training. Letters says that, and notice this is second grade, okay? We don't have first grade on there because they don't have the test until January, middle of the year testing, okay? We're working with 88 students who are yellow. That's about 20% of our kids, which fits right in with the tier of interventions, the pyramid. So, letters says that in 12 weeks, the gray says that you can expect the students to make this much progress in their words per minute as they read. That's average, or what we call typical. Letters says, but if it's aggressively done, if it's something that is really targeted in your school and is being done well and with agility, you can expect to get to the black line. The red line is where we are. I can tell you that second grade is there as my instructional coach, who is absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for allowing me to have that instructional coach. We have a lot of absenteeism from the aides, and so students are not getting the practice that they need. We do have a fix for that, and we hope this next 12 weeks, second grade will be able to come up. But take a look at third grade. Take a look at fourth, fifth. Notice that the gray and the black go down from second grade to fifth grade. That's because by the time you're in third grade, the complexity of the content and the vocabulary that goes along with that becomes more difficult and challenging for those kids to read fluently. But that's where we are. We're making progress with these kids, pretty good. We still are doing our book dragons. We were able to secure some money, and we have about 100 students a week who are turning in. They get a little, every student gets a little tracker. If they read 20 minutes a day, parents sign it, they bring back, and they get a chance at a drawing. 25 students are picked every week to draw a book out of our vending machine for free. That is our frequency, but our fluency program, but I did want to leave you with something that's just kind of fun at Davis. So here we go. Hopefully a sound with it.
Davis dragons are the best. B, be responsible. E, express respect. S, safety first. T, teamwork. I will act in such a way that I will be proud of myself and others will be proud of me too. I came to school to learn and I will learn. I will have a great day. The choice is mine. I am a Davis dragon.
That's all I've got for you. So I hope it wasn't too fast, but what questions do you have for me?
Can I just add one thing, just to clarify? All of the things that she presented, that's in addition to CKLA and M-Class and the things that we've been doing district-wide. And they're doing those things with fidelity. This is all added on top of that. So it's quite amazing, what Chris has been able to do with her leadership in the school.
That has, so yeah, it's not there. We plan to have, with our middle of the year parent-teacher conference, we plan to run a workshop with that, parent engagement night, teaching them about it and how to do it. Maybe they just don't know how. And so that's our plan, to do that as one of our, no, it wouldn't. Mm-hmm.
Turn your mic on, Robin.
Yeah, I think it'd help too. I've had this idea of telling the kids that we are at 51%. I want you at 65. If we get to 65, we'll bring in the bouncy houses. Here we go.
Chris, I don't have a question, but I want to thank you for going above and beyond to accomplish that. The goal that we have in Uintah School District to be the best, it takes us all going above and beyond, and I appreciate you for doing that.
I'm glad you said it takes us all, because literally it's my staff that I show this data to, and they say, oh, this is not acceptable. What can we do? And it really has been a team effort. So,
thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Davis Dragons are the
best.
Yes, they are. Thank you.
Shauna got you on that.
Board members, we have a comment online, and the superintendent has forwarded that to us.
Yeah, via email. Yep.
We have one person that has signed up for patron input, Erin Birchall, but she wants to come on the calendar, and so we will do that at that time. Is that okay, Erin? Okay, I'm gonna forget, where's the calendar at down through the...
It is probably in the consent. Let me see here. 2A4. It's in the consent calendar. Yep. Which is next. So.
Well, doesn't that make this appropriate now then?
I think so, yeah.
Sorry, Erin. I went into all that. Can we have you now before we start the consent calendar?
Okay, Erin Birchall. I'm representing the Teachers Association as a president today. And we're grateful for the opportunity to share feedback. We shared some feedback with the school board and with the district, and Dean got with us and was able to give us really quickly some options that I think reflected more about the teacher concerns and addressed them. We had a meeting yesterday and was able to get some feedback from a lot of different schools and different levels of schools. And so we recommended that we accept the B section, and I think that's what you guys already talked about in the work plan session meeting. So we're grateful for the opportunity to address kind of how we do Fridays differently, especially for secondary. This is more conducive to the student needs and addresses kind of like the teacher workload that's at the end of a trimester without kind of giving an assignment just for an attendance purposes, and makes the Friday work more authentic for students. And so we feel like that's a better plan for everyone involved. So thank you for that. And also we're really grateful that this is going to be stepping away from the Teacher Association president, but as a person who's married to someone who graduated from Union. So thank you for aligning. I know. But all my in-laws are over there in Roosevelt. And so thank you for aligning, making every effort to align the calendar with our Duchesne School District partners. We have been able to have lots of spring breaks together with the cousins because so many of our spring breaks are different. So thank you for addressing some of those concerns and letting us have a voice and seeing how we all have different perspectives that can be, managed and compromised. So thank you for that.
I thought you was going to say thank you for the win last night over Union.
Right? Oh, we were very happy about that. I think my husband has officially converted over. I mean, he's the only Union person in this house of Uintah, but that's okay.
You can't convert him?
No, he still wears a Union shirt occasionally. We just tell him how ugly it is. But no, it's okay. We have a lot of people that we love over in Union too. So anyway,
okay, just for clarification, so you're in support of the calendar that has been proposed tonight?
Yes, calendar B, where we end the trimester on a Thursday. Then we have a professional development on the Friday, so that leaves students not having to have this awkward, what do we do for Friday assignments when Canvas closes, but we're supposed to have it open until Sunday, and things like that. So we just think that's better for student experience as well.
Robin?
Just quick clarification. So on board docs, it's 25-26 calendar, draft B. And I know we've already approved 24-25, correct?
Yeah, I would love to get that one changed too, but he said that'd be too hard.
Amending that one?
You might have to step up for this because I know they want to hear you on the camera.
Oh.
Sorry. We're good. You're good.
Okay, I'm good.
Anything is possible. Working at UB Tech previously, our USHE partners set their calendars based on our actions that we take now for the future years. So ideally, it would be probably beneficial to stay the course and adjust moving forward. So that would be my recommendation.
Board members, any other questions? Denise, I can't see you. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on item number 2, the consent calendar. Board members, remember that if any board member that wants to can pull something out of the consent calendar and vote on it separately.
Okay, I would like to just pull out a board memorandum discretionary recruiting fund proposal, just to have a little more conversation instead of having it in the consent calendar.
Item,
That would be the last.
item 5.
Yeah.
5, yes.
Okay, Robin has pulled item 5 out of the consent calendar, so we won't be approving it. Any other pulls from the board? I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar then, items 1 through 4.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar, items 1 through 4.
We need to name those.
Do I need to name them?
Name them, will you, Denise?
Number 1, the minutes, November 3rd, 2023, board retreat, November 8th, 2023, work session, November 8th, 2023, impact aid, and November 8th, 2023, business meeting. Purchases over $50,000 and or contracts needing board approval. Number 3 is monthly board financial update, and number 4 is approval of fiscal year 25-26 academic calendar.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it with draft B for the calendar.
Okay.
I guess that was her motion. No, I shouldn't have done that.
President, may I make a comment
Yes.
if we're to the discussion point? So regarding the minutes, one thing that I failed to mention, well, that we caught in the middle of, or in between work session and this meeting, is that the minutes to the business meeting did not include the list of new hires that were requested for approval last board meeting. Our great Shauna caught that and then corrected it in the board docs. So the version you see in board docs includes that added to it, and so that would be what you're approving with this motion.
So they went in and changed that in between meetings,
Mhm.
board members,
I see.
and so it's been added and it's there now. Does anybody need more time to look at that?
So those were minutes of last month, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Business
yeah, I'm
meeting. With the additional personnel attached.
It's just that when the personnel lists were on last month's agenda, they were not public records at that point in time, and they become public records when we include them in the business meeting minutes the following month. And so
I'm good with that.
makes it official action on the board's part to approve those.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, item number 5, approval of proposed discretionary fund for recruiting high need and hard to fill positions. Robin, do you want to discuss before? Do you want a motion and a second and then discuss? I want you to have all the time that you
Yeah,
want.
no,
It's
I
the
don't
reason
need
I'm
much
asking.
time. I just, I'll maybe just discuss, and then we can make the motion.
Okay.
Not that it's that.
Do you want to lead us off?
Sure, I just want to add, and I don't know that I'm trying to, what am I trying to say? Not direct, but I guess these are my concerns that I just love to have in place as we move forward with this. To have the stipend listed on the personnel sheet that we get of the personnel, so that we can see it, to see the stipend, hiring stipend, and then just pilot it. I mean, we've got January through May, kind of look at it as a piloting year or 5 months, and then just make sure we have some good guardrails that are consistent, and so that there's rationale behind it, and it kind of gives everybody some safety net that are involved with the situation with hiring.
Okay, so Dr. Lease, is there any problem, what she's asking for, if someone's hired that this is used for, with that being listed to the side of it in our board docs?
Just would keep
Okay.
us in the loop. That's all I'm asking, really. And then I feel more comfortable with.
I'm good with that.
Sure.
This. So,
Todd, you okay with that? Excuse me. I'd entertain a motion on number 525 then.
I would make a motion on number 2 and 5, approval of the proposed discretionary fund for recruiting high-need, hard-to-fill positions.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Denise. Sorry, Holly. Policies for approval on first reading. Building and access security. Oh. Now I'm confused for a second. First readings can all be passed together, is that correct, if they would like, if
That's
they so
correct.
choose?
Yes.
First readings you can do both of them together. Second readings have to be one at a time. So would a board member like to make a motion?
Sure. I move that we adopt and approve the 2 policies for first reading, which are 010.0350 building access and security and 005.0520 salary schedule placement / steps. First reading.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Denise Maynard seconds. Any further discussion?
So I assume this is our public comment is based on this motion? Is that how you're reading that?
Can I have a second to read that? I haven't.
Yeah, why don't you just take a look at it? Todd, your guess is probably as good as mine on that, but yeah.
I just kind of assumed that's where that was coming from, so. Yeah, I was reading through that. I thought the upgrade, I'm not sure if this is a comment against the upgrade or if that upgrade needs more training or just, I guess I'm a little vague on what. The reasoning
it
is
addresses
there.
a few things
Yeah,
related.
Related
I
stuff,
think
so.
you just take it for what it's worth. I mean, certainly we will as well.
Is this something that we direct to the principals?
Depends on where it came from.
Yes, but I mean, this encompasses probably starting with our director's level and trying to address some of those concerns.
Almost every meeting I sat in for facilities, public student safety is brought up. It's a big concern of ours as a board and as a district, and we're moving as fast. We talked about in our other meeting grants that we've applied for. There's lots more that we'd like to do above and beyond what has been done. We've took a lot of finances out of the district for resource officers, and we're doing all that we can. We're a long ways from being where we want to be, especially at certain schools in the district. And so just so that everyone knows, this is something that's on everyone's radar continually, is keeping our kiddos safe and what would happen if a shooter entered a building. And so which we've dealt a little bit with. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that's taken care of there, Superintendent.
Yeah, so Verkada gives us the ability to monitor people that come in and out of our building differently than we've ever had. our most pressing need is to get these security vestibules fortified and built to the spec that we need to really be able to utilize that technology, so that when somebody comes and we don't know who they are, right, we would be able to scan their ID and get some information. Are they a registered sex offender, right? Or is there an outstanding warrant for them? There's information that just, it helps, right? And there isn't one thing that is going to make our schools 100% safe, but there's layers of security that we can apply, both hardening, right, like vestibules and using what they call security film that's bullet resistant on some of the entry vestibule windows. We've already done some things, right, with Verkada, having the safes installed in our school. Everything we do is a layer. Having counseling and having, you know, those soft services that we provide for kids. Safe UT, where people can call in if there's a concern. Everything is a layer, and the more layers we have, the safer our schools will be. So a lot of these concerns that are addressed in this particular comment, we have a plan in place. And we started that plan with a thorough assessment from our local law enforcement partners, and we're just working through as quickly as we can to get those layers in place. I'm also very excited about what's happening at the state level with you know, the new Guardian program and some things that we'll see come out in legislation this next legislative session. So we're doing it the best and the fastest we can. It is a top priority in our school district.
So for the short term though, shouldn't this person really go to their supervisor, their principal, and talk about some of the things, their concerns?
Yeah, I think I will tell you with Verkada, I think, just my opinion, many of those things have been addressed.
That's kind of how
They may not know that they've been addressed, but
that's why I asked
you know, as far as who has access and security cards and all of that, we are way better off today than we've ever been in this district.
Every time I go to high school, Christy locks the door and won't let me in, so. Person of interest. Yeah. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Policies for approval on second reading. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve on second reading 002.0230 board members midterm vacancy on the board.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Todd Massey seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Approval of the FY 22-23 audit. One of you audit committee members, do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the FY 22-23 audit.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Todd Massey seconds. Any further discussion?
Just point of clarification, are we approving the audit or the financial statements and adopting their response to the auditor's recommendations?
Both.
Which in the memo? I'm just curious.
Both, I would believe. Grant,
Oh,
can you help?
I think that's a good question there. I believe the best approach is to move to approve the financial statements and adopt our responses to the auditor's recommendations. So yeah, the memo has a form motion that I would recommend using.
Denise, do you want to amend your motion?
Yes. So is it off of the your memorandum? Okay.
It's on the bottom of the memorandum.
Okay, so I'm going to amend it. It says, I move to approve the district financial statements and adopt management's response to the auditor's recommendations.
Denise made the motion, or what did we call it?
Amended.
Amended. Denise amended her motion. Todd, do you still second?
Yes.
Todd still seconds that motion. Any further discussion? Thank you, Robin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Do we have a motion to approve the personnel changes?
I can't get it to pull up. Isn't it now? Or do I need to go back to? Yeah, this is on the wall. Thank you. No, that's all it is. I have this, sorry. I waited till you sit down.
Board members, please, President, may I
Yes,
take a
of
second?
course.
Just please note that there is a, included in the personnel changes, there is a request for a leave of absence. We don't get a lot of those, and Mistlin has included some information on that, and it is our recommendation that that is warranted, and we should grant that.
I was wondering what that was, so.
Thank you, Superintendent. He told me about that in executive meeting, and I'm still waiting on a motion. I gotta have a motion and a second before I can call Dr. Lease up here.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the personnel changes.
Do we have a second? Robin has got something on her mind.
I don't.
You guys are gonna be busy teaching school tomorrow if we don't get our act together.
All right, President, I will second the motion.
Todd seconds it. Dr. Lease, evidently we need help. Come and help us out. Remember, board members, do not use a name. Please use a number.
Okay, let me help you out just a little bit. I'll point out a few things here. Tonight we're asking for your approval for 15 candidates to fill new hire positions. 1 LEA specific license. Remember, we typically do these all in a lump at the beginning of the year, but once in a while we'll have a late hire that we need that for. 1 current employee who has recently been assigned to a new position. 1 candidate to fill extracurricular coach position, and 1 employee who's requesting a leave of absence. I'll point out a couple of things. We do like to have these typically to you by Friday in board docs. We've had a couple of last minute things. So D1, if you were vigilant and looked at these on Monday, you might not have seen that one because we slipped that one in there, wanted to get it done tonight. Then you see E1, that's the leave of absence, right? You don't see those typically. If the memo doesn't give you enough information, we would need to go into closed session to answer detailed questions about that. But when we're looking at those, we're weighing if there's any risk or if there's benefit for the district. The administrator of that this would affect has been involved in the decision and is aware we have a plan of how to move forward if this is approved tonight. And then F9 was a late add as well.
Board members, questions for Dr. Lease?
Comment. So D1 is probably some of my concern. As you said, you slipped that in there.
Well.
I think it's the process.
Yeah.
I think I'm concerned more of the process that something is approved, that there is a team meeting prior, sorry, I've got to be careful, before the board has approved the individual. I think we've had this discussion before. This is the second time similar. And I just want to make sure that we either build policy so that we as board members have a good idea of what's going on before parents start calling us.
As soon as we became aware of that, I reached out to Christy, then made the superintendent aware. Because of the quick turnaround that board meeting was tonight, that's partly why we wanted to get it in here. We hadn't, and that's why we did, is because that information had gotten out. But conversations have happened, and we are putting some checks in place to make sure that doesn't happen again. We have a football position open right now, and so we want to be very careful with that moving forward and make sure that we have some checks in place for that.
And the key with that
future hires.
is some of the things, you know, I can't provide facts for any of the comments that I've had today.
True.
And so for me to deny based on somebody's hearsay a position for this individual, then it doesn't make sense to me. But it would have been nice to have had some time to consider that.
Yeah, I recognize it puts you in a difficult position for sure.
So I'm good once, twice really bothers me. If it happens a third time, that's just really a challenge.
President, can I address the board? So one thing we noticed in the procedure is we had in there, you know, a way of handling major sports, you know, sports teams that you would think would be of high interest or are high profile sports, and then minor, you know, sports that maybe don't get as much attention, and the major ones we always have a school board member involved, and there's some subjectivity there, right? Like, well, who's to say a sport is a major sport or a minor sport? That's just based on somebody's interpretation or judgment. And so moving forward, we're going to change that procedure so that for all coaching hires, it will come through me. I will notify the board chairman, and you will be given the opportunity, our board chairman will be given the opportunity to say, yes, we need a board member on that committee, or no, for this, we probably don't. So that'll be your right of refusal, but they'll all come to the board chair from this point forward. And really, if you think about it, having a board member involved will prevent this kind of thing from happening.
And Superintendent, I'm not so worried about board members being too engaged. Sometimes I wonder, you know, how engaged should a board member be in that type of.
Yeah.
Anyway, I you know, it's just, I'm more concerned with the knowledge prior to it going public.
Yeah.
That's the part of it. So that way I can investigate a little bit on my own before I'm ambushed with questions. But even at that, I'm not blaming any individuals in here or a principal of any sort. I'm just saying, did we as a board are we not clear, and have we not put policy in place that allows us to control that somewhat before that happens? I mean, you know, I could easily say I received a number of individuals' comments today on that subject.
Right.
I had no idea what had even happened.
Yeah.
So it's not currently in policy, but we could look at putting it in there and as part of the hiring policy. That's actually one that I'm reworking right now, just because it's a little outdated. So I can make note of that. The interviews happened on Friday, is that right? The interviews happened on Friday, and the recommendation was made to HR on Monday. So,
wait, just to protect
just
ourselves,
so you know the timeline, yeah.
And to protect our schools. Often people feel like we rush something through when we do it that way, and it just, yeah. And so, yeah,
But in the meantime, while I'm working on that policy, we could absolutely put in procedure that the superintendent texts the board anytime a head coaching position has been selected.
It sounded like, the superintendent and I talked a little bit about this before. It sounds like we have policies in place at individual schools, and then we have policies on boards a board
Well,
policy.
no, there's policy and
Practices.
procedure.
A procedure at the
Yeah.
school level and a
But,
policy at the board level. We just
you know,
need to
this,
make sure those.
this slipped through. I've tried to be really good about informing you and
Right,
bringing
you
the
have.
board along.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, I need to know, and that's where you know, I didn't learn until Tuesday, which was the day before board meeting, and so at that point, there wasn't,
Yeah.
right, so.
But no, thank you for your consideration of that.
Also, just a comment, what I would like to do, I don't want to be the one, and there will be somebody else sitting in this position one of these days. So I don't want to be the one that decides when the superintendent calls me, is this a sport that we want a board member on the hiring committee for? So what I'd like to see happen as we're trying to fix this hole that we have and fix this problem is that we get a list of all of the sports. Robin and I's perception of what maybe is, I don't want to use the wrong word because one sport's not more important than the other.
Well, high profile, right?
High profile
Yeah.
sport could be different. And so, you know, us as board members need to say, you know, I think the head football coach would be a pretty easy answer for me. Some of the others are a little bit more, so I'd like us to do that so that it's not just my decision. I don't want to be sitting here, Todd asking me how come we didn't have somebody on that hiring committee.
I agree. So, yeah, and then the process of those committees, and maybe we take a deeper look at saying, how are we placing those committee members? Who are we placing on those committee members? And
Yeah,
you know, how
that's,
deep a dive
that's
are we
in
taking?
that's all in the policy too.
Okay.
Who
Great.
should be on there, so it's a policy that we need to relook at. It's been a while since that one's been visited, so
Yeah, and
now's a good time.
just so the board's aware, I believe the only positions that require a board member are principals and district level administrators. That's it right now. And you know, this is a little bit of a controversial conversation because one might say, well, yeah, you know, a teacher's a pretty important position too, and that can be controversial and in some cases high profile. And why are we having board members on, you know, to hire the tennis coach, but we're not hiring the science teacher at the high school? So we really need to think about this. I'm not, you know, it's been a courtesy really for us to extend that, trying to build trust with the board, the way we've communicated also, because we don't do that with all positions either, right? Knowing that we're trying to stay ahead of it. So even though this didn't happen the way we have been doing it or like it to happen, we didn't go outside of policy at all. So I want you guys to know that. So just be mindful of that, and we'll do our best to, you know, we want that high level of trust. We want you to be well prepared when people call you. We understand that coaching positions evoke emotion for parents and for kids. We understand all of that, and we're you know, we can do better than what happened this time, but we have taken measures to make that happen.
No, I appreciate that. My comments earlier were just basically that same thing. I'm not sure where a board member needs to be involved. I mean,
Right.
there's something there.
Yeah.
You know, is we're putting trust in you and you individuals out there at some point. You know, we just need to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure those policies are.
Yes.
procedures
And
are
it
in
is
place.
in our procedure when principals speak to successful candidates, or we always say pending board approval. So they do know that step still needs to happen in order for their employment to be formalized.
Yeah. And it's just that jumping
Yeah.
forward with team meetings and those type of things, I think, and the public knowing before the board does, and they hear
Yeah.
those questions as though, are we not engaged in what's happening in the schools?
I think timing is hard too, though.
It
If you
is.
hire a high-profile person and then you don't have a board meeting for a month, that's also tricky. So I'm just saying it's.
I think that becomes simple. Could be a process outside of board meetings, a notification process. That's why I say I don't think it's so important that I sit on any committee, personally.
Yeah, and we've done that, right? We've
Yes,
had
we have.
we've
We have in the
had
past.
principals or people we've hired 2 weeks before a board meeting, and I've contacted each of you, and you know, we've made sure that you guys are informed and aware, so we can make that offer pending board approval, and so we're doing the best. It's tricky because we meet once a month.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. notification method may be in that policy.
Okay.
I do have another question. I just, help me so on A1, which is a approval, you go down to a separation, it's the same person for the same job. Am I missing something?
Say this again, A1
and then go to F5. Is that not the same person? Hired and then separated? What am I missing? F5.
That's a good catch, unless it's a change in,
Is it a different?
well, it could be change in funding source.
Oh, I didn't look
Because
to
the funding
there.
sources aren't noted on the
But
separation.
Why would they be separated and then hired and separated? I don't, and what am I missing? It's the same position, same location.
It just looks like the difference in the funding source, what I saw.
It might be.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we don't note the funding sources on the separations.
Okay, but, so it's just a change in funding source? That's it?
Yeah, I'll double check on that one to make sure we have this
I
accurate.
just didn't understand, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Still aid.
Mhm.
That was,
Unless there was a short break in
Oh,
employment.
I see the difference. It's an FTE change from
Oh.
full-time to part-time.
.7375. .7375.
Yeah, it's the
From
same.
from a full-time 1.0 to a .7375, right?
No, they're the
It's
same. Yeah. Number 5. It's F5.
Yeah, A1 to F5.
Yeah.
I skipped a line. That's not
You're
it.
okay.
Okay, so whatever the change, whatever. I just saw that.
I'll just make sure that I'll make sure that it's accurate when you receive the minutes. Yeah. Was there a break of employment? Oh, there was a 3-day.
So they were hired and then.
They were hired and then separated.
Okay, all right, that makes, all right. Okay,
That's hard because we don't have the hire date,
okay.
right?
That
There's,
makes
you don't
sense.
see the
Thank
hire
you.
date there,
I just couldn't make
but
that
you
work.
see the separation date.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. for the
I didn't know if I
clarification.
should turn and ask him or not, but that makes sense.
Any other questions from the board?
I just have a comment,
Okay,
and it's just on the, what Todd and them were talking about. I have total faith in our processes and the people that are on it, but it's hard, you know, and I acknowledge that we make mistakes, and everybody, I acknowledge all that. But it's hard to get 100% behind somebody when we're blindsided. And I understand everybody recognizes that, but I want to be that board member that's, yep, this is what, and this, I have 100% faith in the whole process. I can be the biggest advocate for everybody here, and that's just where I'm coming from. I don't want to overstep my role. I don't need to know if, you know, if you feel like we don't need to be in places, then let's discuss it and see why. I just, you know, it was a little rough today because I was getting calls also, and I didn't have answers, and I want to be able to defend everybody here. And so, and I know that you guys acknowledge that, and we had really good discussions. So that's just where I'm coming from, is I'm pretty open and honest, and I'm, you know, approachable. So that was, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that too. So, okay.
The key is keeping you informed in a timely manner. Yeah.
Robin, are you ready to vote? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Lees.
Thank you.
Calendaring items. Superintendent Woodford.
Okay, President, board members, if you'll open up the calendar items in board docs, you'll see that the list is lengthy, and a lot of that, some of those things have already come and gone. But in December, we have, there's a lot of events and activities surrounding the holiday season, you will see that. We sent out reminders to everyone to please help inform the board of when they have their community council meetings. So there's a few of those in there. Do we have any questions? Really, probably the main thing is just to have on your radar that the first of the year is going to come really fast, and we do have a board meeting on January 10th. So that pushes our executive committee meeting, some of our committee meetings, right after the new year. So just have that on your radar, if you would. It's going to seem like tomorrow. Yep. Any questions about the calendar?
Just a comment, just remember, board members, right after the first of the year, we have our January 4th, 5th, and 6th
Annual conference.
USBA annual conference. That doesn't make this calendar and doesn't need to, but we'll have it, and then we'll come right home and do the board meeting on the 10th.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
I do have a quick question, Ms. Lynn. When is the next policy meeting then? Is it Monday? Oh, on Wednesday? Because 25th, because usually it would be the 25th, which is Christmas. I'm not coming on the 25th. I got enough meetings. Since I wasn't there,
available
so
on
sorry.
Christmas.
What is the Polar Express? Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yeah, what is Polar Express?
So we don't have another policy
How do we
meeting.
not know? Everybody's looking at us like, you fools. Shauna, clue us in,
We won't do
please.
any- Okay.
Okay? Cool.
I just assumed it was maybe just for students and families, but you're saying anybody. Be careful what we ask.
I'm gonna hear about it from Kent, from you not being on the mic tomorrow, so. Is that everything on calendaring, Superintendent?
It is, yep.
Robin, anything else for this meeting?
No, I'm good. Just happy holidays.
Great. Denise?
No, I don't think so. I can't
Todd?
think of anything.
So I think wrestles tonight?
Yes.
They're probably done. So, and also, Principal Norton, did we have a record set in swimming this past week?
Yep, Morton.
That's what I thought I saw, so I think those are awesome things, so thank you.
I think he blew it out of the water.
That's all I have, President.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun
Grant?
intended.
So I just feel like this is a great opportunity to thank my staff, like you had mentioned and recommended earlier. But we moved from one thing to the next, right? It's budget or audit season, then budget season, then audit season. It's just a revolving door, and so couldn't do it without them, and just very appreciative of their expertise.
We explained all that to you when we hired you, didn't we, Grant? Yeah, he says, he's so kind. Superintendent?
Yeah, thank you, President. Yeah, just, the school year, it kind of comes on and before you know it, you're right in the thick of things. And that's how it's been this year, right? There's been a lot of happenings and things going on. Our principals, teachers, paras, bus drivers, custodians, cooks, everybody has just been working diligently and hard to meet our district goals. I appreciate so much. And I just want to share an example of that, board members. You know, one of our goals is to be above the state average in all assessed areas. And we've put a lot of time and energy into that, and we're making strides, we're making progress. One of the issues at the high school for years, our kids have missed a lot of school that compete in extracurricular activities, especially in the winter. Our basketball teams, wrestlers, you know, they miss a lot of school. Well, one thing we've done with this Friday schedule is we've asked other schools in our region to allow us to travel on the weekends, on Fridays, so our kids don't miss school, and they've agreed to that. It's put a huge burden on transportation, trying to schedule, because it's caused a bottleneck where all of our buses are going out on the same day or the same time, and that staff has worked diligently because they know how important this is to help us meet our goals. And I so much appreciate, and it's a great demonstration how our support services, transportation, foods, everybody is involved in helping us meet our goals. And I just appreciate the efforts of all of our staff. I hope everybody just has a really relaxing, I know it's just barely over a week this year, right? It's a smaller Christmas break, but I hope it's the best. So thank you for what you do, staff.
In closing, I just want to remind everybody that it's the holidays. We wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I know sometimes as board members we're very critical. We expect you to take your job seriously, and we take ours seriously also. But during the holiday season, take a minute to spend some time with someone that you love. That don't be scared to tell them that you do. I've had grandchildren that I only got to spend one Christmas with. I hope she knows that I loved her. And there's those around us that is not as fortunate as most of us. So if you see somebody, and even if it hurts a little bit, or if you have to take away from others that have lots, help those maybe that are less fortunate than we are. It's always eye-opening to me. My secretary come to me the other day, and she has two half-brothers that are living in, I gotta be careful how much I say, she'll be mad at me. Two half-brothers that live in a home that has no front door or hot running water. When she asked them what they needed for Christmas, they said nothing, they was fine. And so it surprises me that that happens in our community. Take a few minutes, and I promise you that if you want to find true happiness, you'll find it in helping someone that truly deserves it or needs it. Merry Christmas, all of you. I hope you have a great holiday. Board members, I'd entertain a motion to close.
I'd make a motion to close business session.
I'll second.
Denise seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I really don't. I don't know. I actually don't know. I can't say no. I think